First, welcome everyone. We have at the table introductions, Joy Gray, Selectmen's representative, myself Sharon Schilling, Chair of the committee, Rick Judkins to my right, member, and then Joe Dame, who's the vice chair, and Elwin King, who is relatively new. Your last meeting was your first meeting, this meeting is your second meeting, so
Yeah.
God bless you and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
And Linda?
Oh, sorry, Linda. Linda, our town administrator. Oh, give me a second to get up.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Okay. I will say that Josh Shackford has been dismissed for the day. That sounds terrible when we say it. out loud. Excused. There we go. Dismissed. Go away. You've been dismissed. No, he's excused for the day.
And Sarah.
And Sarah. Well, she wasn't here last month, so I start to forget about her. So, Josh, Sarah, excused. All right, so next on the list is the approval of the July 16th meeting minutes.
I got a couple nitpicky things.
Go for it.
Sorry. Kind of went back and I had to like watch segments of it. 'Cause I'm like, is that exactly what we said? So there's like one section in particular that kind of like a bunch of things happened. Josh Ackford said the law allows him to decide when to abstain. I thought it was just.
Where are you?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, helps if we know
Sorry,
where
yeah,
you are.
page 2 of 3, top third of the page. You have in italics, 621 Gray joined the meeting, and then at the bottom of that first paragraph, Josh said the law allows him to decide. I didn't think he said law allows, I thought he just said.
He's allowed to decide.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
allowed.
allowed,
Yeah, he's
yes.
allowed, not the law.
Not the laws,
Yeah.
the
I
laws.
think that was his wording.
Yeah, so we'll strike the law allows and put in he is allowed.
He is allowed.
We'll have to take out the laws allows him and put in he is
Allowed to.
allowed to decide.
And then, another one.
Yeah, keep going.
Well, I want to make sure Linda was. Okay. And then Dame gave a synopsis of the review made by the committee showing a good, fair price for the grader.
Oh.
The very next sentence. It was given the information at that time.
Right, so
So-
add to the end of it, given the information at that time.
And then and then additional information was supplemented and Joe rewrote his,
Yeah, because we did a
Yeah, you
revision
did a
of the cost estimate.
yeah,
As more information came in.
Yeah.
From the finance company and stuff, yeah.
yeah.
All right, so you want to add a whole other second sentence?
Yes,
So,
end that sentence with given the information at the time, and then,
A subsequent
Should've written down.
revised.
Yeah, and then, yeah, Joe had indicated that, yeah, that he revised, that you update or wrote a new.
Yeah, we did for the
a
Board of
new-
Selectmen.
Yeah,
meeting.
what would you call that document?
It was revised. 'cause
Yeah,
it
but what was the
based-
A
name of the
revised
document?
synopsis or a revised
Cost
summary?
estimate or something. I think
All
it was a cost estimate.
Cost
He-
analysis.
Cost analysis for
Okay.
the new grader. That was
Did,
it.
okay, so Dame indicated he did an updated cost analysis
As
for
new
for
information.
presentation to the select.
To the selectmen.
Yeah,
That's right.
as new information was given,
Yeah.
presented, yeah.
He did an updated, you got that, Linda? Sorry.
I think so.
Updated cost analysis for.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, no,
Okay,
it's-
alright. I got one more. The last statement of the next paragraph, Gray stated the selectmen did question the need for the grader, agreeing with Schilling's statement. It wasn't the selectmen I was stating, I was agreeing with Sharon that the ABC questioned the need for the grader. I was probably confusing because I was talking as a member of both and kind of going back and forth.
Oh, because I was talking about,
Right, ABC.
the
And I was
ABC.
too, but I rewatched it and I was like, well, what do you mean, Joy? Because you're,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I knew what I
okay.
meant, but it came off like I was speaking for the selectmen, but at that point I was speaking for the ABC.
Alright, so how do you wanna see that changed, if at all?
Just replace selectmen with ABC.
Okay,
Okay, no, that's fair.
That's,
Mhm.
anything else on that?
I didn't have anything else.
Anyone else have anything else?
Under other business, I did ask a question about the firehouse management system, and Linda said she was gonna check that out.
Sorry
Oh,
about that.
yep, they do use it.
I'm sorry?
They do have that program.
They do use it?
Okay.
Yep.
So in
Um,
here, we'll put Judkins requested
An update on the
update or just.
Status.
Just asked if the fire
Status
department
It's
still
about
uses
asked a
the,
question if the firehouse, yeah.
still use the firehouse software.
Judkins.
Clarify why I asked that question.
Well, let me just get the minutes.
Okay.
Judkins asked a question regarding
Asking if the firehouse software was still in use.
if the,
Yep. Linda's got it.
yeah, no, but I like to have them on mine too, firehouse software. Still in use. Shackford to, I gotta put L Shackford.
Yep.
Shackford to verify. Okay, alright, any other changes or updates or additions, deletions? No? With that then I will accept a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Okay, Joy, a second.
second.
Dane, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved unanimously. Okay, 2024 budget drawdown.
I'd like to qualify why I asked that question.
Oh, absolutely.
The reason I asked the question with regard to that program is that there's a module in there for apparatus and vehicles, very similar to iWorks. What tripped me was when we saw the fire department budget being used to pay for the iWorks program. In 2011, we actually had that in-house. And there are some things I think you'll find lacking in the iWorks program that the fire department needs, and their program addresses it. We'll talk about that later.
I was gonna say, we can talk to that under number 6 when we talk about the equipment. Oh, well, we're probably not gonna get in depth with the equipment vehicle inventory review because Josh isn't here. But we
Right.
can at least bring up that question again and talk about that, the module and all that kind of stuff, okay? Does that
Well,
sound?
that's just what prompted me to ask the question,
Yeah, okay.
because it already existed.
All right, I have to freely admit I have not, with my schedule and things, my leg, I have not had a chance to thoroughly review this, so I will hopefully defer to some of you. If I see something that I think is way out of whack, then I will bring it up. Can you tell me, Linda, I mean, John Aruda, Selectman Aruda is always very good at this, and perhaps you know the answer to this, Selectman Gray. He is always talking about what percentage of the year we are and what percentage of the budget we are. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, we were 60% of the year and 61-point-something% of the budget.
Yeah, according to
was
the
right on.
61.6. Yeah.
61.6% of the budget. Okay.
And if you take into consideration some of the things that are probably supposed to still go back into the budget, some things from the expendable trust funds and that kind of stuff, we're
Yeah.
probably even closer to the 60 and
Back to
60.
60.
Mhm.
Okay. Has anyone noticed anywhere specifically where there are serious anomalies?
Linda's already covered it, but that general maintenance line, under Parks and Rec, I think you said it was used, to kind of put stuff in a bucket for now, and then it would be sorted out later.
I believe I think we sorted it out
Where am I?
on the supplies line.
The, what am I, Parks and Rec, general maintenance, page 5,
Oh, sorry.
Parks and Rec, DPW,
Oh,
general maintenance.
no, that definitely went over because we bought the lawnmower.
Oh, that's the lawnmower one.
That
under
was why that is there, yep.
Okay,
And that will get reimbursed from a fund?
No, that
No.
one's not gonna, no. The lawnmower we had, I think it died.
Yeah, that's a new,
Yeah.
zero
Zero turn.
turn.
okay,
mower
yeah,
that
sorry,
they bought.
you said that last week, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Last
that's
time.
fine.
There was another one then that was like kind of a, it looked off, but it was okay, it was.
Yep, yeah.
Was that the building maintenance one?
Our projects, that one there, a lot of that is almost like $30,000 is gonna go back into that once we straighten all the stuff with, I wanna say it's the PFAS.
For the
Yes.
PFAS
Stuff
funding?
that's supposed to be, will get put back in there when we take it out of the expendable trust fund, but had to create the expendable trust fund once we got tax money, so takes a little time.
Okay, thank you.
That's coming back.
I do have-
There might be another one on here that I can just explain before anybody asks.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Notes and
No, me too.
leases, sorry.
Sorry.
No,
Okay.
notes and leases, if you look at it on page 5, just about a little bit ways down, you'll see on this one, it says we're spent 113%. We haven't. There was a check in there that we rewrote, and when we voided it, it didn't come out.
It didn't void?
So it is voided now, and short of reprinting all these pages for that correction, I just
Okay.
figured I'd say something, but it's back in line.
Where's that one? Oh, there, right here.
Yeah.
Right after
I see.
Madison Peg.
Yep.
Okay, so I just made a note, voided check.
Yeah, it was like for $30-something thousand, so it
Yikes.
skewed it, but it'll come back right into line.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to the first page.
Yeah.
Rick, you had a question?
I have some just information at this point. The ambulance contract.
Yep.
With, who oversees that?
Well, there's a committee of like the 6 towns.
Yeah, no,
That
I'm
we
talking
do.
about Madison.
The selectmen ultimately are in charge of it,
What does that contract actually pay for?
to
Well,
have an ambulance show up at your house.
Well, then how come I got charged $17,000 for an ambulance to show up?
I was
at
gonna
my
ask
house?
the
No,
same
that's
question.
right, we
Yeah.
will pay for we pay for them to get there. Well,
Okay.
to have them available to get there, but then the person, the
do you know who
patient
represents us
charges.
in that negotiation?
Mike Brooks and Mike Morrow were the ones who went to most of the meetings.
On this contract?
Yep, this one and the one before it.
Okay. Do you know what specifically it provides for us?
Basically
somebody
just
to show up.
that,
Just an ambulance
basically.
showing up?
Yep.
Not advanced life support?
24/7 coverage.
Well, I mean, I don't know,
Yeah, he
it's-
doesn't know.
I don't know the specifics of what actually shows up. I would assume it would depend on what kind of call it's going to.
Do you
what
have
they
a
would
copy
send,
of
so.
that contract by
Oh,
any chance?
yeah, this upstairs.
You wanna take a look at, I mean, not tonight, but do you wanna take a look at it? Because I do,
Yeah.
I have a question too, like, because,
I'll take care of it.
okay, personal case was that they showed up without anybody who could administer any drugs.
Mm.
You'd have
So,
thought they'd have had a paramedic on.
they don't,
They don't, when
They
they took
do
me,
not.
they didn't either.
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So if the contract says we're supposed to be paying for an ambulance that has a paramedic, and then a paramedic, or an ambulance shows up that doesn't have a paramedic, who cannot administer,
Sure.
I mean, they put in an empty IV, that was it. They couldn't do anything past that. They could put the line in, but then nothing
You
else.
can't put
If-
medicine in it.
No.
I found a number of issues that need to be resolved. The
Yep.
first thing we need to know is, what is the contract supposed to
Say,
provide us?
yeah.
If it's advanced life support, I can say forthrightly that I know some people who didn't get that, and there's a reason why. And at the appropriate time, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We really need to discuss it, because I don't think the taxpayers are getting a fair shake.
No.
That's
Not
my,
when we had
that's
better-
my opinion at this point.
Not when we've
based
had
on-
better coverage
Well,
by
we had our own,
ourselves.
right.
That's what, I'd like to understand what exactly is in the contract, what services we're paying for.
Right.
I know they do keep the alert, has the building down Madison Tamworth line there.
41.
Or, yeah, 41.
And Center Osby.
And then, but there is an ambulance or two and a staff there. Is that what we're paying for, kind of like
They're not
the
always there.
standby?
They're not
They-
always
They're
there.
not always there?
No, they're not. They don't sleep in the firehouse like a like a full-time
They don't
fire-
stay in that ambulance house
No,
there?
they get a call at home. They're on call.
Oh geez, I thought they kept it. No, okay, that's what I'm asking. I don't know what we're paying for, yeah.
Right, and that's why I
Yeah.
think it's important that we
Yeah.
understand the contract before we.
I always thought they had at least one or two like EMTs there, you know,
Yeah.
staffing that little ambulance house they have.
Not according to what the EMT told me.
No, okay, no,
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking. I don't know.
Oh, he's like,
I would
"Oh."
kind of expect that, but,
Uh,
you know what I mean? But
Well,
I
and
don't
maybe,
get-
I mean, the budget is $133,000. Maybe for $133,000, you get somebody in the firehouse up until say 10
No, but there's other
PM.
towns pooling into that.
Well, I know, for us, we
Yeah,
get
okay, yeah.
that until say 10 PM or, I don't
Whatever.
know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, yeah.
You get that if it's available.
Right,
Uh,
if somebody's available to stay, but.
But
If this
it-
unit's out, if the unit on 41 is out on a call, and another call comes in from Madison, it comes out of Center Osby.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you better accept the fact that there is a significant time delays.
Hmm.
And in serious cardiac situations, my experience has been 15 to 20, 21 minutes.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
If that's gonna be the case, the outcome isn't gonna be very good.
No.
So, aside from that though, I think really defining what specifically we're supposed to get at the door. And if there's a paramedic coming through the door,
What are their qualifications? What are the minimum
he's
qualifications?
obviously licensed for, if he's a paramedic, he's licensed for advanced life support, but he may not be able to apply that here because he's a per diem guy from some other place. And all those protocols come out of Maine Health Memorial. So you got doctors that are on, receiving calls about, we want to do this, this, or this. He doesn't know who it is, he's not gonna let you do it. So there's a system set up, and I just wonder how that works
For us.
with this contract.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Let's- yeah, let's-
Yeah, let's take a look at the contract, see what's going on, yeah.
so Linda, if you could,
So that's
Do me a
definitely a
favor, send it
critical
to Rick.
item, you know.
well, actually to all of us, if in case
Yeah,
anybody
just
else
so we
wants to help.
can get an idea of what we're paying for and what the expectations are.
Right, because I'll tell you, it was over half an hour for them to get.
No, I know, when I went too, it was marginal service.
But,
Right.
but living at the end of a dirt road, I expect.
I'll say this, just reveal, I've had 3 encounters with them. The individuals who were on the scene are very competent, capable people. I have no, that's not my
Right.
quarrel. It's the company and the status of those people in the operations, and I wanna know what the contract calls for. And that gets sort of important.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Okay.
Okay, so let's go back to the first page. Under the building inspector, maintenance is at 116%. Is there something that went like awry?
The code car.
The
Code car.
code car?
Needed maintenance and something, a few things fixed. It needed a, what do you call the thing that holds, the things that hold the motor in? What are they called?
Motor
Mounts.
mounts,
Motor
motor
mounts.
mounts, the
Motor
Tahoe.
mounts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that
Tahoe.
second-hand, third-hand, that's been handed down, right?
Well,
It's
that
at
was
least,
a-
well, I mean, we bought it used and I think it started out
Oh.
with the DPW and went to code, so.
Okay, all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's third hand or so. I think Josh told us last meeting. It was a former police vehicle from a local town,
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh or something, that
Yeah.
got kind of hand-me-down.
So,
So it's got a lot of miles, a lot of time on it.
I think we'd be doing better off ourselves, a better job if we put him in the pickup and let him bill us mileage anyway, for 30 paramount's. Versus the cost of that motor mounts. 107,000 miles, what's gonna go next?
It's just like the grader.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I think hopefully with iWorks and everything else, that
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
complete and total assessment of all of the
Unless we're gonna kick him into a,
capital
Police
equipment,
cruiser.
including vehicles, right?
you know,
I have a feeling that we're not gonna like that news.
No, of course we're not gonna like that news. Does anyone ever? I'm sure that there's been maintenance and purchases and stuff that have been kicked down the road.
Yeah.
Because you can't reestablish everything in the same year, or taxes would be absolutely ridiculous.
No, that's why we're trying to stagger things out. And
Right.
hopefully I'll get there pretty soon.
Okay, so anything else on the first page? Anything on the second page? We have supplies, 593% for election registration.
Yep, we talked about that. That was envelopes they had to order.
Oh, that's right.
The updated envelopes for the
Yeah, for absentee ballots.
absentee ballots, that was it, yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a way. There is, but I'm hesitant to ask this because I know it probably means more work. When something is more than 100% expended, is there a way just to put like an asterisk after it and then on the last page, so that I don't keep asking you why are we 593% overspent on supplies, and just say envelopes as discussed during whatever meeting?
If I have the time.
I mean, really, well, it is you put it in once and it carries over from month to month to month, or
It
no?
doesn't,
Because
though,
this comes out of quick.
Yeah, this does, yeah, I'd have to,
What if we had like even just like a Word document with a table that just said, like Sharon said, had an asterisk, and then election supplies, 539 envelopes, and then we just update the Word document? Is that any easier? Because we're just
like,
eyeballing
I
it
don't
now
know.
and looking at stuff that's, because then we would never have, it would just always stay on the page. You know what I mean? Like there are certain things that will just always stay on the page and we won't ask you. I don't know, just a thought.
like on the page or like like at the last page.
A
that-
The
document
last
that we
page,
added
either an addendum, a single Word document at the back of it, or if there was a way to print it below the line down, on this last page so it stays. Can't imagine that there are that many notes that it would take up more than the bottom half of this page, but I don't know how easy or how difficult that is for you to do.
It's not hard, it's just time.
Time
But
consuming, right.
I'll see what I can do.
But like I said, hopefully, as we go forward, there are not many that are over, and I'm only looking for stuff that's over 100% expended before the end of the year. Which leads me to the next one down, which was executive fees and dues. It's only 103%. I'm presuming that's just a difference in the cost of.
I budgeted $100 for, $900 for QuickBooks, and it was a couple $100 more than I expected, that I budgeted for.
Yeah, Lynn and I were talking about actual municipal budgeting software that would,
Hopefully make
Potentially.
life easy
yeah, that
for
would
you.
potentially, if we find the right one,
Yeah.
that would,
Does the New Hampshire Municipal,
they had some recommendations.
they have recommendations?
Yeah,
And
they
well, we
but-
need something obviously cost effective, because we can't
Right.
go purchasing a $10,000.
Yeah.
It would be next year anyway, but
Yeah.
it was time to look at stuff. I
And-
did look at Avatar, and they don't have
They
like
have-
the full. They have like little bits and pieces,
They have
but not
modules.
necessarily what we need, and
Yeah.
it doesn't tie. So I was hopeful, but
I know, I think that the vision was that it would be bigger than I think it is.
yeah. And have you heard from Chip? Or?
I forgot
Okay.
to ask Chad when he was here.
Chad.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't know who Chip is.
It's like
It's Chad. Chad Roberge. Okay, I don't have anything else on that page. Does anyone else?
Mm-mm.
The next page, I have contracted services, 121%.
I feel like we answered that one too.
We did, I think
Yeah.
We
last
did.
month, I can't remember.
Let me look and see if I have. Oh, that's.
Oh, I'm thinking it was iWorks.
Yeah, wasn't that their portion of the computer
Contracted
stuff?
services.
Because otherwise, that line is generally the internet bill kind of thing. And And I think that ESO Solutions, I think that was probably that fire.
Oh, yeah, as an annual,
Yep, there was a software charge there for $759.
So the contract services is iWork and ESO and all
Okay.
that.
I'm thinking it was the iWork specifically that pushed it over, because that was a quarter of it, a third of it. A third
But
of
I
it.
guess my question is, didn't they budget for that? I mean, I thought I specifically remembered talking about that. Oh God, sorry. That they budgeted for that was in their budget for the year. So I don't understand why it would have gone over unless there was a change in how we apportioned it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I guess only Chief Brooks can answer that question, huh? Would you be able to ask him? Like, we budgeted for iWorks. Is there a reason why it's more expensive, or that the apportionment to the fire department was more expensive than he had budgeted for?
Do you need to take a stroll?
They worked me over good today. And the nerves are coming back. So. Okay, and then, again, town projects, I feel like we talked about this one.
Yeah.
That one, we're kind of using it as a line right now because we're gonna be reimbursed from the
From the-
trustees of trust funds for things that we did with the PFAS company.
Right, okay.
And there might be some ball field stuff in there too. Oh, you know, I have it in front of me. Hold on.
And that go into the,
When they did the,
ETF.
the
Oh, town project, there we go. Let's see. That was already. Yep, there are some ball field things in there. There's one here for almost $2,600 for the ball field, so that's gonna get reimbursed from that new account we have too, so. I did have a spreadsheet the last time we were here on that whole
Yeah.
thing, but it's way under control. I wanna say if there's $10,000 or $12,000 of it that we've used.
So out of the 30 we budgeted, we've actually only used 10 or 12 when push
Correct.
comes to shove, and we're reimbursed out of other funds and other
It'll
stuff.
go way back in the line for sure.
Okay. And I think you're right, I'm looking. Oh, I should probably just pull out the one from last time. That way. I probably have notes on it. Page 4, anyone? Let's go here. Page 5, page 4. Where am I? 102 I'm at.
did you say, was it the
Parts?
Wilcox company? Wilcox and, for the PFAS, the company that's doing the testing and stuff?
Yeah, I think.
Did you
that's-
say they were under town projects for now?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's 7,000, 14,000. And I think that's it for now.
So I'm looking at, on page 4, I'm looking at the culverts, it shows 0. Yet I know they did work on Mooney Hill on culverts.
Yeah, we
right?
used the Warren article, the $250,000 from the Warren article.
And that, so we'll see that in, will that be reflected? I don't know if
I don't
it's,
think we have anything here tonight for what's in the
Okay.
Warren
but
article.
it will show up
It will-
eventually?
Yep, it would show in the drawdown for how much is in the Warren articles.
Yeah.
Yep.
102% for parts. We were at ladder and spray system was what caused it to go over
Yes,
last month.
right,
so,
yeah, so that one was explained.
yep.
Parts makes me think greater. Do we have a delivery date?
I haven't heard,
No, I checked with Dave today, when the new, have you seen the new truck?
No.
Oh, it's beautiful, yeah, it's nice, the new transfer station truck. Dave doesn't have a delivery date yet for the grader.
Okay.
It should be pretty soon.
I would think, wasn't it originally estimated to be around August
Mid-August.
15th? So, yeah. So I would think sometime soon.
I think it'll be here in September, according to my sources, the cat, so.
Time to get it to the dealership and prep it and, yeah. Well, they ran late on the transfer station truck.
Yeah.
Okay. That was okay. That's okay. Anything else on page 4?
And PEG TV equipment, does that part of what gets reimbursed when they get their money at the end of the year?
I don't think so.
No. They did a big project. They did one project that was computer upgrades and things that was the 1628, which was one shot. But anything that's left over will go into the general fund and then get voted to use unassigned fund balance to fund the expendable trust fund next March.
It's not over that much.
No. I mean, the number looks big because it says 130%, but you're really looking at $400, $375 or so.
In terms of computer equipment,
That's cheap.
it's not a ton.
It's probably not even a laptop, so. 113, we talked about the other two, the 113, the 699%, 119 rafts and docks.
Was that for the new dock? Did that fall under that? Page 5, halfway down?
Yes, it did.
So that was the new dock.
And a couple things like, I don't know, we needed,
It's straps and bumpers, I saw.
Something,
Yeah, it had
I have-
bumpers put on the,
Yeah,
it's the dock at the launch, the town launch. The DPW put, I think, tie downs and bumpers and things, because some of them were missing or broken, they rebuilt it.
but this does not include, so this is gonna change, because this does not include the parts to repair the raft down at foot of the lake beach.
no, they didn't, the selectmen didn't decide where that money was coming out of yet.
That's the one with the broken ladder or something?
Well,
Yeah.
it's been repaired.
Yeah,
It's back
it's
out.
back out, it's
Back
refloated.
Back
out.
up, okay.
Yeah, community pulled together big time for that one, bunch of different people, a bunch of different, yeah. We have a wonderful welder in town, and she went to town on that thing for hours and
All
welded
day.
it back together.
Really nice.
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty much
Volunteer?
all day,
Volunteer.
volunteered
Yeah.
her labor and her equipment.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so all the town had to pay for were the parts that she needed to actually effect the repair, which I think is minimal compared to what it would have cost to have somebody
The labor cost
contracted to do it,
alone,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
So, very, very nice. I had asked Selectman Gray to talk to the selectmen about sending a letter and maybe a certificate or something, finding out from her, get a letter from her about how much labor she actually, and what under normal circumstances that would have cost the town, and then give her a letter thanking her for basically donating that amount to the town.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a precision welder who works on aerospace and
Wow.
giant
right.
airplane parts,
Yeah.
so really. Sometimes we say below the pay grade. This is definitely generosity and kindness, kind of doing that, so.
Okay, and then the master plan newsletter, 326, that's the consultant fee?
Yes.
Because that hasn't changed since last.
Yep, that was a one-time deal for
Right.
planning board, this year at least.
The Veterans Monument, go back up a little bit. We haven't expended anything of that $500, but I know that the stone was taken down. The stone's out of its mount.
Yep.
And, well, I'm sure that that had to cost some time, energy, and effort from the town to do that.
Well, the DPW guys did it, but we wouldn't back charge the line.
Line? Okay. Do we know approximately how much? Is there a way? I suppose I can talk to Josh and see if he can get me, like, how much time, who did it, what is it? So,
I guess. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. But
and then I didn't notice coming in if it's still there or if it's
no, it's
gone.
I believe it's out back
It's out back.
versus in the front yard.
Yeah.
where somebody can jump on it and break it. Do we, kind of an aside, do we know what the plan is for that?
Well, so if I'm saying this correctly, Mike did find a company that can help us.
Okay.
So the two things were, right now, I guess there's a base on it.
The base is still in the ground, right?
Nope, there's like another base.
Oh, okay.
So there's a base that right now is stuck to the granite,
monument,
the tall
to
granite.
Yeah.
If those can be taken apart without breaking the big piece of granite, then the granite can be shaved down and redone. If you can't get them apart, or it breaks when getting them apart, then it's basically start with a fresh piece of granite,
Ooh.
which actually was not too far off than what we intended.
What we originally
what we were gonna be
pulled out of
paying
the.
Arthur's Memorial.
Right.
It was, I'm guesstimating within about $1,000
Okay.
to do that. So,
If we had to replace the whole.
correct, if it had to be all redone because we can't use what we have.
Okay.
So that's where it's at right now. I think the next thing that was coming up was seeing if those two pieces
Could come apart.
apart.
I would not want to have to be the one to try and figure that out.
Well, it's, I mean, it's, you could say it's worth a shot.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
it is,
and
yes.
if it breaks, either
Right,
way,
yeah.
we have an option to do it again, so,
Yeah.
but they can help us.
Is that the company in Vermont?
I'm not sure. I don't think they're in Vermont, but I think ultimately the work would be done in Vermont.
Okay.
Like they
It
sub it
all
out
goes
kind
to
of thing, yeah.
Vermont. Vermont is like home to stonework kind of thing. Like even Arthur Memorials was sending it to Vermont to be sanded down and redone.
Because that monument line, that $500 was used for engraving, is
Right.
what that was.
Would normally use
Right,
for.
normally, yeah.
Right.
But then it's ETF, right, that would actually be paying for that? Is that with a?
No,
It's
actually,
just
the selectmen had voted to take $10,000 out of the unexpended balance.
We encumbered it from
Yeah,
last year.
encumbered
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we sent Arthur's Monuments the check, but then they sent it back, so we still have that $10,000.
Yeah, it's like 9,700.
Yeah,
Close
something
enough, yeah.
close
Does it,
enough.
does it go into that line in the budget then?
Nope,
No, it's from encumbered from last year.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
work out of it from
last
that,
year's.
yeah, kind of
piece.
that pool.
So,
So we have the money to do it, for the most
Right.
part, most all of it. Either way, whatever happens.
Is that kind of one of the only numbers, like, so that number's not anywhere in any of these reports?
Correct.
Is that the only one treated that way, or the only one that's been encumbered from last year, or is there anything else?
We did do a couple of other encumbrances, but they wouldn't show up in this because it's last year's money.
Yeah,
So, but there is the selectmen signed that sheet in December of last year that said what we encumbered. It's actually I think it's in the town report, how much
Okay.
we did encumber. On the very last page in that spreadsheet, actually, you know what, it's in one right here, probably then. Maybe? Unless it got cut off. Oh, encumbered, $28,436. So close to 10,000 of it was the
Was the
monument.
monument.
And I wanna say the other thing was maybe like containers for the transfer station. I'm guessing,
did you say 28,400?
28,436.
436.
And I know, I'm most positive we already spent or purchased the other stuff that we had encumbered for.
18 of it, about.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's transfer station, I can't remember the top. What? I know. What?
You don't have like an encyclopedia knowledge in Poor Linda.
It's a
All right,
sad encyclopedia.
I'm surprised you are able to keep as much straight as you do, just on the fly when we ask questions, so. All right, so under the police, the 104 was the iWorks. And then the police grant SC is gonna come out of the reimbursable account for that 104 and the 113.
I see what you're doing. I'm sorry.
So, yeah.
Well, it's not gonna get reimbursed into the budget, for the grants. That money goes back into the general fund. So we could overspend that line, because this is that gross appropriation kind of thing that we're running into with like the field trips. So you have to put some money in the budget.
Right.
They put $1,000, expecting that was probably what they were going to get for grants this year, so that they could pay for grants, pay their employees for doing the grants, for doing the details and things like that the grant's paying for. Ended up, I believe he got $1,600.
Okay,
So he could potentially spend up to $1,600 out of that, which would overspend $1,000, but it's coming in, those checks are coming in and being deposited into the general fund as a revenue, because you have to
right,
offset
Yep.
that. So those kinds of lines potentially could be overspent, because you just don't know. And
but they'll show up on this other one.
maybe not. Some of them just I didn't get into every single income line on that revenue sheet. Do you know what I mean? I went with the bigger ones, because, to find all the $1,000 income lines or the $100 income lines.
Okay.
Would give you a report that's,
Yeah,
I
but
think Joy saw how many income lines we have. It'd be a crazy
yeah.
sheet to try and
But I
account for all.
think then that, again, going back to the asterisk thing, that would then be a good, like a good reminder that they applied for $1,000 or not applied for, they budgeted $1,000 believing they would get the $1,000, but in fact got $1,600. So we expect that they're gonna spend $1,600.
So that could
and-
continue to be
Right.
overspent.
Which
yes.
is money that comes from the grant that gets deposited into the general fund.
Right.
Okay.
So it is offset, but you can't see it right in front of you.
I'm really determined to get you good software.
Right. That's easy, too.
It's built for this.
Okay, so police detail, we went from 80% to 110%.
That's that same idea. They have to put a number in there. They don't know if they're gonna get 10 calls for details or 100 calls for details. And lately, with some of the trees down and things like that they've had to have details for the utility companies to be working. Same idea. Money comes into the general fund. We we bill out for that, but we have to pay from this line.
Okay.
Linda, I know Chief King's not here. Are there plans to hire another full-time officer?
I believe that's
I
what
thought, I
that
think
Jim's
Madison
been doing.
floated, didn't they float a vacancy or a job posting for a patrol officer?
I
That would
believe-
be to replace Jimmy Hafer, right?
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
so
Jim will
that-
move up.
Because Jimmy moves up and.
Yeah, Jimmy moves up.
Yeah,
and
but they need
replace him.
another patrol officer, right?
So, well, right now, if I understand it, there are 3 full-time, currently 3 full-time, the plan to maintain 3 full-time, and then part-timers to supplement the 4th body that we need to have
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is because that, if we do bring another person on, it's gonna impact
the health
our
insurance.
numbers here. So.
Yeah, but that is not in this year's budget, it will be in next year's budget to have a person go from part-time to full-time, if I understand the plan
Well-
that the police department has sent out. That's their or their thoughts,
Next year, not be using part-timers,
right,
yeah, and have that 4th.
Have a
full-time.
4th full-time officer.
that is their
Bring it back
thought,
to the
that's the
fourth,
thought,
right.
that's where their thought process is
Okay.
right
So
now.
did the premise that when Officer Mosher left, we were replacing him with 2 part-time in order to save money on, we wouldn't have to pay for benefits, those kinds of things. That was what Chief King had proposed, that he was not gonna advertise for a full-time position. Is that gone by the wayside now? Did it
It's-
not work out and it's, you know, like we didn't get the applicants, what happened there and what's the budget implication?
I don't know, I can't speak to it, I'm not confident enough to speak to how it's been.
Okay.
Yeah, we need the police department, I think, to answer that one. Cause I don't think.
What do you guys know? Did you ask them that question?
I didn't,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot per se, but did the selectmen ask that question about?
we did not get into any details, it was just a thought process, I think, that was happening, that's what they want for next year. I didn't get any details as to what was happening this year
So
that changed that.
what happens if someone comes up this year? Like we got 3 more months, right? Well, 4 more months. You got 4 more months between now and the end of the year.
They only have an opening that begins basically in the next week or so, that would begin as chief retires.
Right.
And then Jimmy moves up.
And that replaces Jimmy.
Yes.
So there's
And
not
nothing
necessarily any budget implications for hiring that individual.
Correct.
Well, there could be if, I don't know if Jimmy's on, depending on what health plan, those kinds of things. And that's to Joe's point, that there could be implications this year, on the budget this year, paying that individual from, say, September. If they were miraculously, hopefully, to find someone like tomorrow and hire them as of 1 September, then there are budget implications from September through December as to whether or not that individual fits underneath the same category. Do they make the same or less money that Officer Hayford is making? Oh, do we get to call him Chief Hayford yet?
One more week, I think.
Lieutenant Hayford.
Lieutenant Hayford? Okay. And then, I don't know if, again, none of our business, whether he's at a single plan or a family plan or any of that, and what implication that might have for, has anyone brought that up and talked about it, do you know?
Not that I know of.
Because the person would have to be to have a financial impact, the person would have to be making the same or more than Lieutenant Hayford is currently making.
Correct.
And I don't believe that they're looking for someone to come in at that level. I
It's
believe
more
they're
a
looking for
patrolman, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
as opposed to,
Maybe, not an entry level, but maybe a
Couple year
lower
worth of-
grade
Right.
officer, yeah.
From some other town?
that's my understanding of the job posting, is that it is not looking to have someone come in at that. And this is just my personal understanding of it, this is not me. I'm speaking from having spoken with other people.
But there may be
So-
some minor expenses like uniform allowance and the training.
But
or some of these
that's
other
all in
lines.
the,
It's all in the budget
they've only
already.
spent
Yeah, that's what I
29%,
mean.
so they have plenty for
They-
uniform
They
allowance
may have
stuff,
to
so.
provide new uniforms and for the
I'm sure they
new
will.
person.
You want them in a Madison uniform,
Yeah,
so.
that's what I mean, so, okay,
Unless it's somebody who's currently part-time and then just
moves up or
moves up to
something, yeah.
full-time. Okay. Under rec department, the advertising,
Yeah,
I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
I just didn't write it down.
It was a 2-week advertisement for counselors,
I'm sorry, for what?
summer counselors,
Summer counselors.
summer camp
Which
counselors.
next time we're just gonna thumbtack it on the school bulletin board and
Cause
Right.
that's who you're hiring anyway, right?
The pair, the
That's
pair
the-
is
the-
full-time, yeah.
and teachers, we have multiple
And
teachers,
teachers.
at least three are full-time.
Sign them up now
Teachers,
for
Madison and
next
Fort
summer.
Madison.
Yeah, start looking at them in January.
In January,
then
now
you
for next
may
summer.
not have to.
We
2 week
were.
advertising for it.
We were. We were.
Yeah,
we
lock
even had a-
people in now, yep.
We even had a teacher who went to another community and came back to do summer rec,
Nice.
and be with the kids that they knew, so.
Okay, so transportation went from 48% last month to 153% this month.
Yep, that's coming to a close because the last field trip is Friday, and I don't think that there will be any more transportation costs for the rest of the year unless they did, like over the winter, they were able to do a couple of tubing days at King Pine over winter break.
Well, we just
Um,
got a couple bills for at least $1,300 that don't even include those last few days, so that's gonna get,
It's gonna get blown out of the water then, yep. So it'll have to come from somewhere else in the rec budget.
So did rec not anticipate those transportation costs?
We were trying to figure out how to charge field trips appropriately to cover that. We had no idea how much how much it was gonna cost. We didn't know how many field trips we were gonna do, so we did not obviously allocate enough money, to cover that. So we did a guesstimate, it was not, it was not
It was
accurate.
off.
It was off,
It was off.
it was off.
All right, but at least you know for next year, going
Yes.
into it, approximately how many field trips and
And
what the
how to, and
transportation.
how
It was,
to,
a lot of the Silver Lake trips, it was $225 to take the kids to the beach for the day.
yes, and last year was only one.
Bless you.
Day. and
One
this-
day, yeah.
Right, and this week you did it two
So-
days a week.
So really it was 3 days a week of busing because last year was Fridays at White Lake and Tamworth.
Mhm.
That was it. This year is 2 days a week at Silver Lake Beach and 1 day a week field trips. So we tripled
You're using a lot of
tripled or
bus
more,
time.
a lot
Yeah.
of bus time. So I think the goal for next year is to figure out how to, I don't know, charge it back, because field trips were charged just at the cost that Portland Sea Dogs charged us for a seat. Water Country charged us for the price of admission. Like, it was just true in and out without accounting
But
for
not-
transportation.
Not $5 a head or something for the bus.
Right,
Yeah, okay,
So
whatever
that-
it comes out to, yeah.
that'll have to be
Mhm.
figured into next year.
Maybe one of the counselors could be a bus driver.
There you go.
If
Actually,
they have a license, if they have the license.
our rec director has spoken often of getting her CDL so that she could drive a bus, but then we have to have a bus and insured and et cetera and so
Town
on, which
doesn't
is a
own
whole
any
other
buses
thing.
anymore?
I'm sorry,
The
what?
town doesn't own any buses?
No, it contracts out
To the
to a
Eldridge.
bus company, to
Is it
Eldridge. yeah.
Eldridge?
To
Yeah.
Mil-
But we still have at least one of our same bus drivers, which is good because he's awesome. He now works for Butler.
but- Okay, I see nothing else on that page, and then I don't see anything on the last page. So is there any last questions, comments about the drawdown? Okay, any, from your perspective, Linda, did John or anybody else, any of the selectmen, Joy, express any concern about there's any big things coming up that aren't reflected in the budget that, yeah, we're gonna take a hit kind of thing? I mean, looking at the drawdown is nice, but it doesn't, this paper doesn't anticipate what's coming necessarily.
I just have to keep our eye on equipment, repairs, equipment repairs and things like that, but I think that leans into the next, whatever the next, when we get to the topic of CIP and things like that, and I work and all that, so.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's move to the revenue review. Revenue report. From an overall standpoint, are there any concerns where anything, like, we don't have anything to compare this to, like last year, the boat fees and the town fees were 18,000 and now this year they're only 3,300. Is there anything on here that concerns us from a revenue perspective where we're way off?
Not that I am aware of. No, I mean, the motor vehicle fees are in line.
Motor vehicle permits and fees,
Yep.
420,000.
Car registrations, and I wanna say, yeah, we get to by 500,000 by the end of the year.
Oh,
So-
I'm contributing to that.
So-
I just,
I think we all are, yeah.
Oh, God, I
So that's-
tell my husband, no more new cars. No
That's
new
in
cars.
line.
Marriage licenses, nobody getting married?
Well, we only make like $5 on a marriage license.
Oh.
$7.
$7.
So we
So
sold
that's
5.
8 people.
Wow.
We had 8 marriages
Pretty
in
good.
town, right?
Pretty good. Well, the big thing is the FEMA money finally showed up, which
Yeah,
is, Mike Brooks had put
263.
in for that,
Yep.
you know, many months ago.
And this is this isn't the, wait. This is the Colby Hill, or part of Colby Hill.
From last year, right.
From last year. So this wasn't the May washout of MODOK, this was the July Colby Hill one.
Correct, it was Colby Hill,
Yeah,
definitely.
okay, so. Did we ever find out anything about, I don't remember, about the May one for when MODOK washed out? Or did they wait
It's split
because it
into
washed
the
out
4
again?
projects, right? It's split into 4 projects that we've sought reimbursement for, I believe is the way Mike has broken it out.
It
and this was
is.
one of the projects, and I think,
Right, and then I think
I'll
the
look
other.
at my notes.
But there were
and see.
two grants, two requests. Well, one had 4 parts to it.
Yeah.
Correct, the Colby, whichever one that was at July, I lost
Yeah, I
track of
know, I
which
don't
ones were
blame
which.
you.
So when we did Colby Hill, that storm, whatever caused Colby Hill to slide down,
Right.
has 4 projects in
Subparts
it.
to it.
There was like the road, which is what we've been reimbursed for there. Then there's gonna be like the shoulder work and the culvert work,
Culverts.
that's another
Piece,
project.
right.
And then I want to say like Albert Road, we had to do a lot of things up there. So not Albert, Allard Hill. I'm sorry,
I was gonna
Allard
say
Hill.
Albert Road is a class
needed-
6.
so I want to say like up in that area, town was another project, and then all the little random roads where things had washed out.
Yeah.
Like there was like 17 different tiny incidents that got put into another project.
Lumped into one
Right.
project.
So instead of having 27 projects, they
Right.
you lump them together.
So yeah, so it was my understanding that this was the July washout, predominantly of Colby Road, was the biggest piece of it, and then all those 3 other pieces to it. But I don't know, and I don't remember, and maybe we should just ask Mike Brooks. There was a request in for the May washout, which was only MODOC.
Correct.
And then MODOC washed out again with
Yeah.
this year's.
One of the May storms had not been declared a disaster yet.
Right.
Remember Governor Sununu or something? There was a delay,
Yes,
which
that's the
you
May.
can't apply until it's actually been declared a
Right.
federal disaster.
which
So,
I think it was
I think,
recently, or was it the April storms? It
yeah,
was?
I gotta follow up on the April storm. There was another disaster declaration then. I haven't heard back yet. I'll check the FEMA website and stuff tomorrow. See
Okay.
what's going on there for the April 2024
Right, April 24th
storm, the recent storms.
Right, which washed out MODOC again. even.
Did it wash it out again? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And then they just fixed it.
completely washed
Yeah,
out.
the whole road was.
Just, yeah, this April storm, this past,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, okay, what's pilot?
It's a payment in lieu of taxes. So, Silver Lake, the retirement home, what am I trying to say?
Silver Lake Landing, yes.
Correct. They pay what's called the pilot, so they don't pay taxes as based on our tax rate. We have an agreement with them
That they'll
that
pay a set amount.
they pay 10% of their like gross revenues, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I wanna say it's usually around $16,000 that they pay us. And we've collected half of it.
Half
We
of it.
collected, just like I send them a bill that they pay right around when taxes are due in July and
And
December.
then they'll pay again in December. Okay, 10% of gross revenue.
Is that because it's senior housing, or it's run by the Gibson Center or something?
And
I don't think is
it's-
it a 501c3? I'm not
I
sure.
don't
Are
know,
these
and
numbers
it's been in place since I've been
programs?
here, it's
Yeah.
just the way they've always.
I know they have
done it.
subsidized housing
Um,
for seniors,
Sports programs,
so maybe that's
$100
why
in
there's
revenue?
this agreement or something.
Field
Yeah, and
trips.
it was, like I
Field
said,
trips
it's
shouldn't
been
be any
there.
Field
for
trip says
revenue.
275.
Right,
Probably
field
that
trips
much
technically shouldn't be any
frontage
revenue.
On Silver Lake would be stifling.
Oh, yeah, so that property today?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna, it is assessed over $1 million, so.
Oh, easily, I would think.
So only $1,300 in code fines?
Yeah, that sounds
That
right. That would be,
Bob?
yeah, and then usually just a couple $100 for someone who didn't get their building, get their building permit at a
And started
time,
building and.
something like that.
So this goes back a little bit to then what Bill Dempster was saying last month with regard to all of the fines and things. Has there been any discussion about that with the selectmen about what are we gonna do? I mean, we're talking probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. In his estimate, it would be close to $500,000. Is
$1
there-
million
million.
pretty soon, this fall.
Right,
It's
so is there-
accumulating pretty rapidly.
Right, but some of those weren't,
some of them aren't due.
some of them aren't
They're
due,
in-
some of them were, I didn't bring my notes from last time. Some of them were, like, still were in court, some of them were, like, that $1 million was not pure, simple, straightforward.
No, I
No,
get
I
that.
understand, yeah.
I'm just asking if there was any
Well, there-
conversation
there were,
about
yeah.
how, when, what to address. We, from the town, I think, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously listening to the selectmen, there's a philosophy of we'll never collect those if we take somebody to court, so we don't bother doing it. I find that.
From my perspective, I will put on my selectman's hat for a minute. From my perspective, it's not, a lot of it is not clear. I know we disagree on, on how clear cut things are. In my opinion, at least half of those fines are not easily collectible, will require court, will require money to collect, and it's unclear as to how much
How
we have to
successful you'll be.
spend and how much we'll have to spend and how much we'll get. So that has not been analyzed in detail, but
Should it not be?
it should,
Okay.
I agree.
Because we're talking about potentially, if
Yeah.
the world was to align and all the constellations show up at the same time, we're talking about a significant amount of money to the town's bottom line.
Yep.
I'm not confident, and nor do I share the belief that all of that would be collectible. No, I'm looking, maybe 10% of it we might get.
And
So
how much
what
do we have
the-
to spend to get
How
that
much are we
10%?
going to spend to get that? Somebody has to do that analysis. Somebody has to start putting those numbers down and starting to figure out. Because if you assign a fine to a code and never collect it and wipe it out at the end of it, there's no homeowner detriment to not violating the code. Right? There's no shoot, they're not gonna collect it, I'll just do what I want. It doesn't matter that it's $65,000, I'm gonna continue to do what I want.
Wasn't there's a situation that he outlined where someone came in from out of state, bought a property, it was covered by our ordinance, rented it, is now, he put it up for sale, maybe it's sold.
I think it's sold,
Yeah,
it
they
was
were
in
facing-
contract or
So
something.
facing this big fine, which probably could have been an attachment or a lien on the sale, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Somebody, and I know John Arruda made some very good points when this whole thing was boiling up a couple of years ago. And that is, it's gonna cost a lot of money to do this. Well, maybe we ought to get somebody who can do it, at least tell us if we can do it, before we lose more. Let's go down the road. Guy sells his house, he leaves, we can't get that money, it's gone.
Well, and it's not even just that, there's I'm sure as the lawyers go through some of these court cases, there's this entire negotiation piece to settling out of court, that
I understand that.
and sometimes it all goes away. But I feel that there should be a minimum that they're at least held accountable for. And I don't know what that minimum is. I don't know if it's $3,000 or if it's $300 or it's $30,000, depending on, they only pay 10% of what the accrued fee is.
Because there's no penalty right now.
Correct, and when there's no penalty or no problem with, no punishment, so to speak, and although you don't want it necessarily to be a punishment, because you want people to pull permits and do the things they're supposed to do. But if there's no deterrent to just walking across the code with sandals and stomping on it, then the town will continue to be in this position. And it still costs us money in Bob Boyd's time from enforcement and in sending all the letters, and Linda and Kate have to go through and file when the appeals come in. All of that stuff still costs the town money, regardless of whether or not we hire a lawyer. So somewhere in there, some level of administrative assessment, we can stop calling it a fine, but some level of an administrative assessment perhaps. And I think that's a conversation with the lawyers. I don't think we around this table or even at the selectmen's table have enough knowledge and understanding in order to be able to process that. But I think it needs to be talked about, it needs to be a subject, and it needs to be fairly soon, because these are coming up.
It
They're-
is a,
It's here.
well, it is a revenue.
Right.
But it's all dependent on how I'm sorry, go ahead, I interrupted you. Go
No,
ahead.
good.
in my mind, it's dependent upon how the courts are going to rule in favor of, STRs in general, because they so far have been leaning towards allowing them, and that's the legal basis for our being able to collect these fines.
I'm not talking about STRs. I'm talking about all code fines in this town. There was a case before the selectmen 2 years ago where an individual was renting their property out as a campground, and there was $65,000 in fines assessed to that property that never got paid. It was wiped out.
It never went to court.
Well, regardless, it never
So
went to
it was never
court.
demanded in a sense by the court. We can't demand any fines from anyone.
So that's my question. What's the process? Where do the selectmen stand when it's something, it's not an STR, it was something completely separate, and yet there were fines that were assessed to that property that just got ripped up and thrown away. Yet it took your time, it took the selectmen's time, and it took the town's time, and the lawyers and everybody else going through that, to go through it, and at the end of the day, zero.
Linda, maybe I can sit with you at some point and we can kind of look at, because I think Bill was doing some estimates on outstanding fines.
Just
Yeah.
STR ones is what he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, use just the
concentrating on.
STR ones.
Right,
I'm
So-
talking about all of them.
right. But would Bob have a tracking all of the fines that he's issued, or is that in QuickBooks, or?
Well,
Poor Lynn, I'm so sorry.
Poor Linda.
This is overwhelming, and I understand
It is.
it.
no, but what I'm
We really should have somebody,
trying to say is
Focus on
that
it.
we can assess a fine. If someone pays it, Bob can assess a fine, here's $100 because you didn't get your building permit ahead of time. And if the person says, I don't wanna pay it, then we have to go to court. So these $1,300 here are people who just said, you know what, you're right, I was wrong, here's my $100.
You're kinda lucky you got those.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Those were
Right.
just, though that small amount there just happened to be people who felt like, you're right, I was wrong, and here you go. Because otherwise,
So does Bob
you
have,
involve the lawyers and you involve everybody else.
Well, there
Does
would
Bob
be
have a
copies of the letters.
yeah, does Bob have a spreadsheet?
Oh, I'm
of-
sure, I don't know if he has a spreadsheet, but
I'm sure he
But
does.
a list of all the fines that have been,
more than likely, probably, but I honestly don't think that there's anybody that well, I shouldn't say that. Never mind.
we'll talk to
It
him.
has to be
and-
bought.
or-
But I think,
yeah.
when you get to the point where, and I'm not necessarily talking about the guy or family who owes, $300. I'm talking about when we start to get significant. I mean, the one that I'm talking about from a couple of years ago was over $60,000.
And just the same, but when you go to court, you know that the lawyers, the judges aren't gonna
No.
give you the $60,000.
But you hope that maybe if you make a good case that they give you 5 of it, right? And that and court costs, you have to pay the 5 and the court costs kind of thing. So and it's a balancing, like, do we pursue this because do we think we're gonna get even enough money to cover the court costs? Are they gonna have to cover the court costs? And I hear what John Arruda says when he says, well, the judges in New Hampshire are more apt to side with the homeowner than they are with the town. Show me
Yeah.
show me law, show me court cases that say that, and
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure
do a
we
lot
have
of speculation, we do make a lot of assumptions.
Right.
And
We have a case right across the street that cost us thousands and thousands of dollars and we got
nothing.
nothing. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. In comparison, we got nothing.
Right.
I mean, the court did say, I'm
Paraphrasing.
close on numbers. I want the court to say, okay, they said to the violator, you owe the town $8,000, but you know what? Pay them $4,000, and then if you do this again, you owe us the other $4,000.
And how much did it cost us to get that for?
Exactly. And actually,
Right.
I tried to look it up, but all those records were upstairs in a locked room, and I didn't want to go that far because I was trying to find the example. But really,
Right.
we easily spent $4,000 in
Oh,
legal
gosh.
fees,
Attorney fees.
and we didn't get that on top of the $4,000,
Mhm.
and it went on for years. And to the point where a judge came and walked onto the property to see what was really going on.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I can see where some of the selectmen would be jaded about the whole process because, you know, it's their time too, you know, they were in court, they had to stand there and say, ah, yeah, this has happened, and you know, so, anyway.
Yeah, I'll ask Bob, see what he's got, kind of get his opinion on what he collects versus what he, you know, what's still outstanding, and find out some of the numbers and get his educated, experienced opinion, and then see what else.
Quite often, he'll say, you know, some of his letters do say, you know, hey, if we went by what exactly the ordinance says, and because you have been building without a permit for 60 days, you owe us, you know, $60,000 or whatever
Right.
it is.
Right.
You know, and in reality, that's never gonna be assessed to that person,
Yeah.
that's, you know, but I think part of what his thing is, so, you know, you owe us $60,000, so if you pay a fine of $100 for doing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right.
You know, we'll-
Yeah.
just so that there's some kind of,
Some kind of accountability for what they did.
Do we have any other areas other than code enforcement where we have fines that require collecting, or is code enforcement pretty much our?
tickets.
So I was gonna
Like
say,
the
I
Like the
guess-
beach parking
Yeah, the
tickets
beach
and
parking
things,
tickets are.
or boat
They-
launch tickets.
Do
They're-
people just,
Oh, no,
Ignore them?
oh, no, they pay them, but we, most often, quite often, if someone really was eligible for the sticker, you
Right.
know, like you got your windshield replaced, forgot to get a new sticker.
Right.
And they give you a ticket. If you come to town hall and say, you know, you really were, this is what happened, 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, sorry, we didn't realize it was you, or whatever it was,
Right,
and,
how
you know,
would
we
we
didn't know
know?
that was your
Mhm.
car,
Right.
we, you know, and so they just get rid of it. So there's not a lot of revenue in that, it's more, you know, correcting people. Make sure you get your sticker, you know, if you're eligible for one or whatever.
well, especially since
And-
if you're eligible for one, it's free.
Right,
It's free.
so that's part, it's, you know, it's a teaching tool, you
Yeah.
know, to
Yeah.
snap somebody out of it. Do this right or get $100, you know.
Or
Yeah,
it's
by the
more of a
third
hassle,
time,
you
it's
know?
like
Yeah,
beyond
or-
a teaching tool.
Or the out-of-town people with the boats, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll give them the ticket for $100.
Yeah.
And they'll go, okay, so here's your choice. You either go to the town and pay $100 and buy a boat sticker, or you stay out of the lake and pay the police department $100, you know, so it teaches them to
Yeah.
get in line.
Do we still have out of town? I thought we canceled, like stopped doing out of town boat
A
stickers.
launch, I'm sorry, it's for the launch permit. This, yeah, it's $100 to buy a launch permit
If you're
for out of town.
non-resident.
Yeah.
I remember somebody coming before the board last year asking if we would do that again, or if we would waive the fee, maybe it was.
Yeah, he wanted you to waive the fee.
Waive or reduce, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, he wanted like a day pass and all those
I
kinds
do
of things
remember
is what
that.
he
The
wanted.
discussion.
Last year I brought up we should raise it. That was like 150.
But we got a pretty good amount in here right now, I think, I think I put
Boat
it in
launch
here.
fee is 7,000?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
It's
that
gonna start to
helps
peter off
offset
now.
the slam, you know, the boat inspections.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff. So it's a good thing.
So under selectmen receivables, there's a miscellaneous line, which, there's one under town clerk for 432, and I'm just figuring that that's a bunch of little things
well,
that.
actually, this
they're
miscellaneous one for the selectmen is a pretty good amount, because
Yeah.
there was, someone bought back their property. So we took it for taxes,
Okay,
and they bought it back within that time frame
The-
when they can do it, so that was what that was. And it was like $4,200 or something, or $4,100 that they paid us to buy it back.
did we break even on that? Like if they buy it back, if
Oh,
we
yeah,
took it.
we get back all the back taxes, all
Okay.
the cost of us, you know, like certified mailings
Okay.
and all that kind of stuff. Plus, I believe there's a 10% penalty that went along with it too, so they paid
Okay.
the whole thing and got their,
That's what I'm,
their property back.
but just the 4,300 then just shows up as miscellaneous revenue.
Yeah, we really don't have a line, because it doesn't happen very often.
Let's hope not, property buyback.
Their
But-
repo line or something?
Yeah.
Repo reimbursement?
And then other things in there is like, people buy checklists, you know, if, voter checklist.
Oh, right,
$25 for voter checklist. The state keeps track of companies that ask for it to come directly from the state, and they pay us, so we'll get like a $100 check now and then kind of thing. It's just kind of
okay.
a little catch-all for oddities.
All right, I don't, transfer station, I don't see anything. 39,000 in fees though, is that the, like $5 a bag? if
Yeah.
you're-
Well,
Wow.
and, you know, and
Oh,
getting rid of
like
a couch and,
mattresses
yeah, all
and those
that kind
kinds
of
of
stuff.
things. Everything other than aluminum and metal, right? Because they're in their own
Right, we get, yeah, those things we get money for.
Right.
No, John does really well there. You know, it's very clean, organized, very efficient. And I'm not sure if the 39,000 covers the cost of hauling all those dumpsters. I'd like to see a cost comparison,
Right.
but at least it's positive money coming in.
It defers it.
It defers,
It
yeah.
defers- yeah. It-
Yeah. I don't know
offsets
if we're
some of
making
it.
money on it.
I don't know that we are
Yeah,
either.
but it's paying to haul all these full
Yeah.
dumpsters up to Berlin.
I wanna say last year was in the 60,000 range at the end
60
of
to
the year.
70, I
By the end of the
think.
year,
So
yeah.
if we're at
70.
43 and we're not even,
We're 60% of
Just-
the way
And like,
through.
this
so-
might act, and this is a little bit behind too, because I know we just brought in $2,100 yesterday. But when we looked, we were 3% above last year,
Okay.
or at last Tuesday's meeting, he said.
or
On
probably a lot
Saturdays.
more in the summer than there is in the winter.
It is.
It'll
Doing
start
their-
to, yeah,
And-
peak spring.
And John's
already.
he's at the gate, at the shack there, and he's checking stickers and collecting money for people.
Right.
Oh, no,
And he
John does a
should.
great job.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
especially since, there
Yeah.
are people, and we know that there are people who have, cleaning businesses or other businesses that are bringing trash to our dump
Oh, yeah,
because they
yeah.
have a Madison sticker, and there's only so much that the transfer station folks can do about that. They can't catch every single person, but they do a good job of kind of running it down and making sure people are paying, so,
No, they do. It's really well run there.
yeah. Rec department.
It's an inaccurate number, right?
I was gonna say, these numbers look low to me.
Yeah, we still need a breakdown and things. It will look a lot better than that.
So
I was
field
gonna say,
trip
we're
isn't
losing
revenue
money
though, right?
just on the buses and
Well,
and everything.
I got
Yeah.
clarification on how we should handle that
Oh.
for
Okay.
this year, and then how to handle it the correct way next year.
Okay,
So I spoke with DRA,
Yeah.
and I got DRA, and they said the revolving rec is not the
Okay.
way to do it.
okay,
What the auditors told me to do was take the money in, put it in an income line, so we'll
Okay.
have a field, which we do already have a field trip income line, put it all in there, and then just pay the credit card out of that. So it should be a wash kind of idea.
Mhm.
He says it's not the correct way to do it. He knows we're doing it that way this year, so he won't question why it's like that.
okay,
But then next year, we'll do it similar to the detail line on, you have to do a gross appropriation. So we'll say, okay, we think we're gonna spend $2,000 on field trips, we'll put $2,000 in that line, and then you'll pay it out of that line. And the money just has to come in the back door, going into the general
Goes
fund.
into the general fund.
Mhm.
So,
alright.
Okay.
but I was gonna explain
But
that.
so that's the field trip money, but the sports program money looks low to me.
Yeah, well, that was,
Sports
was-
program seems,
well, that was like $35 a student for the spring sports.
and there were two,
And I wanna say
Three.
that's a
There-
pretty accurate number.
3 or 4 teams on the spring sports too. Cause there were 2 T-ball teams,
So that's about
softball
40
team
kids
and something.
at
Maybe
$35,
more.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
That was like the
so
2
you're talking
team,
like $1,200, probably, somewhere, and then that,
they're even a little more, yeah, they're even more than 40 kids. It is almost 60 kids
Is it
a
about
season.
60 kids in there? Okay.
per season.
Yeah, for all the sports per season.
Right,
It's like
so-
basketball alone, we only do winter basketball, and that's like 60 kids, which is half the elementary school does it.
And we don't, do we charge for basketball?
We did not,
Okay,
we
I
didn't start charging until spring sports.
So that's
this
14,
is just
30, okay,
spring,
so this is just spring.
and then whatever people have started to pay for
Yeah, we haven't
fall.
gotten, I haven't received
Oh,
anything
okay,
in my
we've
office.
had
What are
a
you running in the
couple of
fall?
families.
Soccer? Or-
So let's see, field hockey, soccer, and we work, Freedom runs a flag football and they invite Madison to join.
Okay.
So those are the 2 big sports, or soccer, and again, it's like,
60 kids.
we have, we have different age levels and different teams and stuff like that, and, yes. And then field hockey, fun. And another teacher, again, volunteering their time to work with kids outside of school after seeing them all day. And then summer camp, that's, yeah,
We get any detail on, because we had that big number, 16,000, but part of it, it needed to be broken out between field trip money and.
yeah. Yeah, for summer camp alone, just in Square, it was 12,700, just in
Wow.
the Square. But that may also be before the Square fees, that may be gross. But yeah, so it's, 12,000 just in the Square for summer camp alone, and then the field trips, yeah, they're a separate line, and then swim lessons were 840, donations $259, and then sports programs are $70 so far.
And really this year, so field trips are gonna come off as revenue because they're just gonna come in and out. But
Right.
next year, there'll be a revenue in a sense because,
Okay, so we think that, especially that summer camp number, even if the 12,700 is pre-Square fees, Square doesn't take 10%, they only take something in
2.9.
single.
3%
Right, so,
or
so
something.
even, you're still at $11,000.
It's higher than that.
Yeah, okay, so those need updating, that's
Yeah,
all.
it's
Because
just,
we have
I
about,
bet you're closer to 20 by the time you
Yeah,
add
exactly.
everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's nice, that's good, and I think that helps then, when it comes time for budgeting, to be able to talk to, recognize this is what we're spending for counselors and everything else, but this is what we're also bringing in. Much like the transfer station, we don't necessarily expect it to cover all the costs, maybe it can, maybe it can't, I don't know. But here's what it's bringing in, and here's what, so it's, in reality, here's what it's actually costing when you offset the revenues
because if
from-
you look at the transfer station, it's $44,000.
Yeah.
That's covering all the salaries and probably the fuel for the backhoe, you know,
Maybe,
fuel for
I
the
don't
truck,
know.
whatever.
Probably
yeah.
doesn't cover all the salaries
Or-
because
no,
of
but
benefits
it's a
and
good
those
chunk of money,
things.
you know.
Yeah,
it-
oh yeah.
It pays,
It's
it pays a
not,
lot, yeah.
I would never tell them stop doing
No,
what you're
no,
doing to
it's-
not
it's
bring
really
in that
well
money.
run,
Right.
yeah.
yeah, and rec also takes in donations into the revolving trust fund, which is basically like a checkbook where they can just spend it. And that's if they can purchase stuff out of that rather than hit the budget, they try to.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Year to date, $865,000. Granted, half of that is motor vehicle permits and fees, but still,
And that does not include property taxes.
Correct.
right.
'Cause that's a receivable, not
That's
a
a whole,
revenue.
right. I was gonna say that's a whole different category.
Sure.
All right, equipment vehicle inventory review.
Oh, but you know what, actually, I put this in there, you guys wanted to have an idea of what came in on taxes.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, there's a, to date, what Linda put it together of,
No, actually, Michael did, this is Michael's
Michael,
spreadsheet.
what is percentage has been collected and percentage due?
Oh, from taxes?
Yeah,
so the first one says, the top left part of that box is 22 PO1, then the total, 2024 PO1, and then the total receivable says 2022 PO1, is that just a typo? Let's just say 24 as well.
Where are you looking at?
In the very top,
2022?
sorry, at the bottom of that.
Oh, total
Oh,
receivable,
yeah, I see
yeah,
what
that's a
you're saying, yeah, that
typo.
should be a 4.
And then what's PO1 versus LO?
Lien, so those 2023 taxes have gone to lien, so now we're collecting on liens, not on taxes anymore, really.
So the
'cause
P
they-
is like property?
Yep, P is property, L is lien.
Okay, thank you.
So we have about 160,000 in unpaid property taxes that have gone to lien.
Yeah,
well,
that's
some
about
people
right.
have paid something about $58,000,
Okay, so
150-ish.
yeah,
102 then.
102.
Well, 102 in 2023, 35,000 is still owed from 2022, and 12,000 from 2021.
Okay. 137.
Linda, what's the timeline,
50,
if it
150K.
goes unpaid for how many years before you
Take the
put a
property.
lien on the property or take the property?
So,
3 years?
So this number here, the 2021 number,
Yeah,
is it like August 20th? Yeah, August 20th. Whatever's not taken care of will be brought before the selectmen, and they'll decide whether or not to take the
to
property.
take the property.
Okay.
So it's a 3-year process.
Mhm.
Luckily, it's only $12,000 worth of unpaid that we're still,
It looks like 7 properties, though.
yeah.
7 unpaid invoices.
Oh.
Wow, that's.
So
that's-
in the payments received to date, this is all within this calendar year so far. For example, when we're looking at liens from 2023, that 57,000 is
I believe.
stuff that we've collected this year for those 2023 liens.
I don't know if that's how much has been received when we had the beginning balance of 160, when it went to lien.
Yeah.
He's collected 57,000 of it. I wanna say that's probably what it is, because if you look down at 2021,
Yeah.
you know, we started, the lien that was started was 97,000. and then payments received
81.
on that leaves 81, which leaves a balance of 12. So I'm gonna say that's over the entire 3-year process that those funds were
It says
collected.
here, yeah, cause it's confusing, cause the whole report says year to date. And then he says payments received to date, and does that mean this year, these are?
Today's date.
Right, but,
Or
yeah,
when-
does he mean like these are,
I
So-
believe it's payments to date on the 2023 lien, payments to date on the 2022
Okay.
lien.
so the beginning balance for the 2023 lien is not the beginning balance at the start of this year? or
Correct,
is
it was the
beginning
balance
as
that
of
we liened.
2023?
Right,
Right.
when
that
he went
year?
to lien and said all these properties haven't paid, it was $160,000, and
And you can
slowly it
see,
gets paid
right
off.
underneath that, it says abated in 2024, so, and then deeded in 2024. So there was adjustments of $116.13 that was abated to that $160,000, and then there were payments of $57,799. So
Okay.
that the total receivable is only, not only, is 102,900
Alright, so we're,
as of now,
So
or
for
as of when
property-
he generated this.
for property taxes for 2024, the total was $5.5 million.
Mhm.
There were some credits applied, received to date is $5.2
Yep.
million.
So we have 242,000 that's still outstanding.
That's through the July,
Correct, just for the
property tax.
July, right.
yeah, and then December will be a whole other.
Right. That's
That'll
just
be
what's
the next
due.
warrant, because it says 2024 warrant.
Yes. And it's estimated at this point, we don't have a warrant yet.
So nearly everybody's paid their July tax.
Yeah,
bill.
95%, which is good.
And that's
Which is,
typical.
that's a pretty.
That's pretty high.
That's high, I would
We're
think.
pretty
That's a
good
huge-
about, it's usually 95 or 96%.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good.
Which helps us in terms of like getting a tan and that kind of thing. They know that we're pretty good about being able to collect.
Mhm.
Perfect. Any other questions?
No, that's really good.
Okay. So then, equipment, vehicle inventory review.
Yes.
Okay.
I checked in with Dave Swift today,
Yes,
just kind of where we're at, and truck number 2
is the one that was
is here.
just delivered,
It's
right.
right up in the lot. Very nice truck.
Is that the blue one you're talking
It's
about?
blue, brand new roll-off. You just, the big red truck is gone, traded in before it broke down. So we did really well on that. And the new Western Star is up there, and I think Dave had a very nice ride back from the dealer today in the new truck. And as he's heading up through the notch with 12, 13 tons of garbage in the back of the dumpster,
He doesn't have to
pull
worry.
over having it overheat on the side of the road.
Right.
So I think we did really well on that. I saw the notes on truck number 3. It's the 2019 International, the dump truck.
Right.
It's a pretty problematic truck. It's costing us money. I think the issue, it looks like the diesel emissions system, you know, the EPA Tier 3, T4, Tier 4, whatever it is acting up, and it has some electrical issues as well. Yeah, I think we need to decide, I mean, not this year, maybe into 26 or 27, why that truck, it has 38,000 miles on it. It might be time to consider, you know, moving that along and getting a truck that,
Only has 38,000?
yeah, but it's.
Is that a lot for a truck
They're
like
different.
that?
No, that's not a lot of miles on it, but it's
But
a
it's
very
difficult to
problematic
run.
You
truck.
can't use it, that's why it only has so many.
It's
miles
broken,
on it.
yeah, it's having a lot of issues. I think we're getting to that point where we start putting more money into it than it's worth.
So when did we acquire it?
2019.
We purchased it new in 2019?
Yeah, so, I mean,
So
it's
it's
5
under
years
5
old.
years.
Yeah,
Did we have any kind of warranty on it?
I'm not sure. I can ask Dave and see what's going on.
That would be my first question. Are we
But
having
this is
issues?
this is the truck that has the sprayer on the back of it.
Yeah, it's a blue
Is
truck.
it blue?
Right.
I think it's the blue truck with the sprayer on it. But, it's a small truck, and I think the comments here is that they could actually use a larger truck, you know, for a plow with You know, but if we're having a lot of issues with this, again, I don't think we can't afford it this year, but we should look at, let's not run this one into the ground and put a lot of money into it. This is probably up on our priority list to,
Where did we buy it from?
international, I'm not sure where they get it
Directly,
from.
directly from them, or?
I'm not sure. I can check, but, they also use it a lot
Yeah,
to
the
plow.
international dealer, it says a few times for
Yeah,
work.
they use it on Mooney Hill, Colby Hill,
Yeah, the
Modoc,
hills,
yeah.
downs,
So
lines.
they need a plow truck for those roads. And this one doesn't seem to be, capable of doing the job.
This just seems like a lemon.
Well, that's what I'm
It
thinking,
is,
is
it's a
it,
lemon,
if it
yes.
says that it's been plagued by mechanical
Yeah.
issues since we purchased it, what conversations have we had with International where we bought it from?
I don't
that
know,
you-
yeah, that's,
Unbeknownst to you necessarily, you sold us a lemon.
I don't know if there's recalls on these or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's something we can ask, and I'll follow up with Dave to see what's going on or something, but, you know, we shouldn't get stuck with this truck, you know, if it's continuing to give us problems, you know?
But it also says on the bottom of this, the town owns 2 of these size trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Is truck 3 not labeled as a truck 3 and a truck 10 or something? Like, it says we have 2 of these, is not the second one of these labeled as a truck number?
I'm not sure, where's another international CV 515?
No.
Truck 10,
Truck 10?
truck 10,
There you
this is
go,
2021.
it's a 2021.
It's used primarily for towing the utility trailer for the mowing crew and is assigned to plow Edelweiss, Burma Tow Line, Eller, blah, 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 and Tasker Hill. So,
It's the specific vehicle that's got a problem, not.
Yeah,
Right,
it's,
well, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
truck 3, the
truck 3 has
2019.
a problem, but can we, there's a discussion that needs to be had as to cut our losses with truck 3, do what we can with International. You have a second truck. Can that second truck be used to,
It's already got an assignment. Yeah, they're doing the whole other side of town.
you know, I hate to bring up the fact that we just purchased and haven't received yet a new grader that's supposed to be able to help with plowing and stuff, right?
Yeah, but
So-
this truck sounds like a lemon, you know, and again, it's no fault of the town, DPW.
No,
I
we
mean,
just
if
have to make sure we
International
follow
can't
up on
fix
it.
Right,
You know.
we just, well, we
Yeah.
have to follow up.
Then they owe us a new truck.
Right, and maybe that's a discussion
I don't know,
between the
it's 5
selectmen
years
and
old,
Josh
and-
with regard to this, then send a letter to International that says, look, we've got, it's a less than 5-year-old truck, and
It's only 38,000 miles.
there's only 38,000 miles on it. 37 of which we put on, because it came with 1,000
1,000
miles.
miles. But again, you know, that's something as we dig into building our equipment plan out, you know, we're gonna reach a point probably, if this truck has been problematic from day one, what's it gonna be like, you know, 3-4 years from now?
Will it make it 3 or 4
Yeah,
years?
yeah, that's what I mean, so, you know, that's probably something we should
And
consider.
not only that, you go down to truck 12, we got one 16 years old, it's something we gotta start thinking about.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, we need to prioritize, go, what are we gonna replace?
Yeah.
Again, starting in, you know, 2026. And,
And there was another vehicle that went, so the wood chipper's still broken?
Oh, no, I
Is
think it's
that on
working.
here?
Okay. Yeah,
Josh
back
said
up
they
again.
put a new clutch in it.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were
I
rebuilding
think
the clutch, they had
They
to
were
rebuild it.
rebuilding it, I'm not sure what the status is.
How about we just add it to the wood
Yeah.
chipper
Um,
and ask them for a.
Cause it was down, but it sounds like it's back up again,
I'm
which is
almost
good, cause
positive
we
it's
lost a
working.
bunch
Oh,
of
no.
trees again during.
Yeah, because I know the week before last they were chipping, so.
Okay, good. And then there was another one that Josh mentioned was down again.
yeah, so truck 6 is
Loader.
gone, right?
Could be.
That's the big red
Is
one that
and that's
was
DPW,
traded
not-
in.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was the one that Dave
This was-
dropped off at Western Star today and picked up
Yes.
truck 2. So truck 6 is gone, that's no longer
Exactly.
applicable, yeah.
So it was traded for the new
Yeah,
truck 2,
yeah,
DP, new transfer station truck, right?
yeah, that one's gone.
so that's not truck 2. Yeah, that's truck 2.
Truck 2 is the new transfer
The new
station truck.
Right,
Yeah.
so truck 6 was
Yeah,
replaced
so-
by truck 2.
So we do not have a truck 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah, don't ask me though,
Was there, am I making stuff up?
what?
What?
I'm asking, was there another vehicle that went down briefly but is back up again?
Oh, I don't know. I
Well,
know,
the grader, the old grader was down. I'm not sure if it's running again.
No. Did you say
I
you said
thought it
loader?
was, cause I
the
saw
loader, we had that was what was covered
There
under
was a
the
big graded-
warranty to fix the transmission.
the graded,
Oh, okay.
That was a big deal.
Okay,
We have
but
Burke's
that's,
grader, right?
did that happen
Mooney
like
Hill.
within the
Did
last
that
month or
part of
something?
Mooney
And
Hill.
then it's
Our
already
grader or
Top
back
did
to
they
good
rent?
warranty?
I have
It's
no
covered
idea.
in warranty, it's back down,
I'm
it's
quite
down
sure
being
Burke's
fixed.
grader is
Okay.
here
Yeah.
Is that on the
for a
list?
couple of weeks.
I don't, yeah, Brooks Grader's here.
Yes.
So we have a
Is that
brand new 6-wheel dump.
The yeah,
The
the loaders.
920?
Yes, that's
Truck
That's the
9
one?
that just
Okay.
came in.
Thank you.
You know, we're really in good shape. You know, this is a good list. You know, a lot of the critical vehicles, the plow trucks and dump trucks, are 2024, 21. You know, we do have the problems with that International, the Lemon truck. We do have an older Peterbilt, a 2005, that has 287,000 miles on it. It's
What truck number is that?
Truck 11, it's a tractor trailer to be used for hauling municipal solid waste,
Okay,
bulk waste to the transfer station. It was, but we have the new truck,
I don't even
designed to
know.
buy the roll-off, okay.
so then, if truck 6 was traded in for the new truck 2, what are we doing with truck 11?
I think truck 11 probably went in trade with this
They're-
green truck.
They're saying they're turning it into a dump body plow.
Yeah, they put a dump body on it, made it into a plow truck. But it's in fair condition, should be replaced in the near
Okay.
future, so that's, you know, that's another one on our list.
Oh, yeah.
So it's used to haul materials and is assigned to plow.
Kingswood Circle, blah, 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 blah. This truck is in fair condition, should be replaced in the near future. Define near future, it's like saying soon.
And replaced with,
What?
so we don't need it as a roll-off, or we don't need it to
No, because
do
we have a
that.
brand new roll-off truck.
So we're using it basically just as a plow.
Is a plow, so I'm assuming since this was a track, this is a good sized truck, this Peterbilt.
It's just a single axle.
Single axle?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
But it was only purchased 4 years ago.
Yeah, but it was used,
But it
I
had 250,000
yeah, it was
miles, right?
bought as a used vehicle.
But we've only put 37,000 miles on it.
Yeah, so we had bought,
For
again,
years.
you know, a hand-me-down truck.
Right.
You know, not a lot of miles on it for a truck, but, you know, it's, well, we're talking.
How much did we pay for it? It doesn't
20
say.
years old, 19 years old.
Doesn't say how much we bought it for, but it says we put $45,000 into it to put the plow and wing on it.
Yeah, that's a question for Josh and
Yeah,
Dave and
most of this.
find out, you know, since it was originally bought to haul dumpsters, you know, a landfill type thing, we have a new roll-off truck. Do we need this Peterbilt and, or what type of vehicle should replace it?
Well, I think you could
Yeah.
combine a couple of these into one.
That's what I mean.
You know,
yeah.
maybe get another wheeler with a 12 yard body, 14 yard body, and
Just one truck
One
and
truck.
get rid of these old ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
and also, but.
not tomorrow.
Right.
No, but in 26
But know that when
or
you
something.
get rid of a truck that is used for plowing, you now have to adjust the plowing schedule because you're not gonna be able to
Yeah.
get to the same people
No, I
in the
agree.
same amount of time. And he
Right.
has to balance that with, because you need a certain number of assets, no matter what they
Right.
are,
With
to
the-
be able to cover our roads for plowing.
With a little bigger truck, you can carry a little more material, so you don't have to keep coming back here. So you could
Stay on the road.
kill two birds with one stone.
Mhm, yeah.
For sanding and spreading,
Right.
but not for plowing.
Well,
You still need that
you're
number of
gonna-
assets. If you expect to get everything plowed in a single day, say, then you need a certain number of
Well, you
assets
just
to
have
cover
to, you
those
just have to
roads.
jostle your roots a little better,
Maybe.
that's all.
I mean, there's still however many
Yeah.
miles of roads we have to plow.
Yeah.
And you could, I mean, can't plow them necessarily any faster than,
Right.
then the truck can
But
travel.
we got a couple plow trucks that are getting long in the tooth.
Well, and that,
12 is a 2008 Peterbilt, you know, that's 16 years old. So, I mean, you know, we're getting to that point on a couple of these dump trucks that, you know,
and they put so it cost us 126 to buy it. We put $81,000 into it to redo the dump, to replace the body. The dump body was rotted and replaced with a new stainless steel body, new fenders, ladder, and pre-wet system.
yeah, but if you, the key here.
What year was that done?
2023. But that dump body can be removed and put on a new truck when 12 is taken out of service, right? So you're not,
Potentially, yes.
potentially, you're not losing that money.
No, I'm not, yeah.
Because you can move these bodies
Because
around
of
on
all
these
the
trucks,
stainless,
right?
so
Yeah.
it'll last,
Yeah.
it'll last quite a while.
But, you know, if we buy another frame truck, we can put that dump body right on there?
Yep.
Okay,
If that's the route you choose to take,
yeah.
because that's only a 6 or 8 yard body. You know, I don't,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay,
But, okay.
without the road agent I hear, I'm not gonna.
No, this is really good because it's a great summary of the condition.
Yeah, I think what I'll do just for my own mental
Create a spreadsheet
organization.
out of it.
Yeah, that's what I do. But just put it in a way, you know, kind of like categories, like, you know, year purchased, price was purchased, you know, like just, like iWork has, but then I love this narrative. I
Yes.
think that is
Oh, this is
so
good.
helpful.
This is really good.
Yeah,
Did Dave write this up, Linda, or Josh? I'm not
I think
sure. They
Josh.
did a really nice job on it.
yeah. But yeah, I just wanna see side by side. You know, again, based on
right,
iWork and the part and the, I don't know, to put it together.
right, and
Put
it
it all
gives you
together
a
and
quick,
side by side.
quick glance of like, okay, how many trucks do we use for plowing? How many
Yeah.
trucks do we use for?
Yeah, because I feel like we have some of the information in the annual report, we have some of the information in iWork, and now we have this information all together helps us determine, because I'm looking at, you know, even truck one, the Silverado, I expect the use from this vehicle to be no more than 10 years based upon mileage. So is that 10 years from 2022 when we got it, and the year of the truck, 2020, 10 years from now? So we have an ETA of, you know, 2020, 2032 or 2034, like just,
Yeah,
So
we
that's-
should have it on the list for,
Okay.
yeah, saying
So I wanna
replace
have-
the Silverado.
yeah, I kinda wanna have that, I think we all wanna have that ETA replacement. And truck 5, it looks like it was replaced, so truck 5 is gone.
That's the one that rolled over, was
Yeah.
totaled in the accident, you know.
So
So-
truck 5 is gone.
It was
Yeah.
traded in, but, towards the purchase of truck 9.
So we don't have that. We don't have 6. 6 is gone.
So, truck 9 is,
That's brand new, that just showed up, that's the green truck.
isn't
That's-
that truck 2 that was,
No.
No, this is,
Two is the blue
this
one.
was the warrant article from 2023, I believe.
Because of the dark green one.
The dark green, very nice truck, it just came not too long ago, it was
Yep.
just delivered not too long ago.
In March.
Yeah,
so truck 2 I thought was newly delivered.
it is, today,
That's new.
Today.
just arrived today.
That's
Yeah.
the
Okay.
most.
And that's,
We received 2 trucks this year, but we bought one of them in 23 and got it in 24. We
Yeah.
bought one in 24 and got it in 24.
okay, so this was purchased in 23, delivered today.
Yeah, this
Okay.
was a warrant article from 23,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
One quick comment, if you look at the Caterpillar 920, the front end loader,
What's the number?
um,
I gotta go through
Yeah,
this and
it's
figure it. Is it on the
15,
back?
it's like,
Right after
should be 15, it's after truck 14. The transmission went out on it, and it's down at Milton Caterpillar, but we had the extended warranty. That's why we got the warranty on the grader, because you know what that transmission would cost in that machine?
Oh, God.
Without a service plan or warranty?
Right.
Oh, it would be thousands of
unaffordable.
dollars. Yeah, it'd be
Unaffordable.
Thousands of dollars.
Transmission on a car is thousands of dollars.
Imagine what it is on a 920
Caterpillar.
loader.
Right.
So, it only has 1,800 hours on it, you know, that's a great machine, and as long as Milton Cat can, you know, fix it under warranty, get the transmission fixed, we're in good shape there.
So it's a 2021 vehicle that we purchased in 2019.
Yeah, how is that?
Took 2 years to get it.
Did it?
Yeah, it probably, yeah.
It's the same as the gra- wait, this
Yeah.
Is that-
we were
yeah, was
talking
that a
about the
typo?
grader recently. We had one that was coming, we got into the line and be able to get it. We were gonna order one, we're gonna wait 18 months to get it.
Yeah, it was probably ordered in June of 2019,
Yeah,
didn't
but
arrive.
It would still be model year of 2019, even
I
though it
know.
took 2 years to get it.
Depends when they
Stealing
made
your
it.
report.
Yeah,
If it was in the production line, yeah, I don't know if it's a typo or whatever.
Well, either
I
way,
think
it's
just
in the
clarify.
transmission.
But I think that's a great example of when we look at these vehicles, to make sure that we get these,
extended warranty.
the warranties on them. Because it, you know.
Because we don't have an in-house mechanic.
you
So
know,
we need to have,
And I
Right.
believe both the Western Star and the new Road Grader have 7-year warranties on them, so.
We'll wanna track this transmission and see what the cost is.
Oh, this is gonna be
Oh.
expensive,
Okay,
especially getting it fixed from Caterpillar. Oh, they're gonna charge an arm and a leg
Oh,
for
of course.
that. Oh, yeah.
yeah, and the labor's at, $250.
Oh,
an
yeah,
hour,
yeah.
so.
The transmission alone is probably, you're talking about $30,000-$40,000 for a transmission.
And it's coming from Germany.
It's coming from Germany?
Yeah.
what
Oh,
is,
jeez.
The transmission. Okay,
Oh, Caterpillar.
Anything else?
Oh, the backhoe came up last month. And Elwood and I were talking earlier. You know, the one at the transfer station, it's a 416. And, you know, it doesn't start in the winter and the all-wheel drive wasn't working, the hydraulics were leaking. I mean, it's
When you're
problematic.
dropping your paper and plastic, take a look at it, it sits right there.
Yeah.
It's atrocious.
Oh, the thing, it's falling apart, it's awful. But again, the idea is, the DPW has a nice 420 that could be passed to the transfer station, you know, if we, you know, again, put in our equipment plan that, you know,
that we're
buy a
gonna
new
replace
backhoe.
buy a new backhoe, move the 420 to transfer station, buy a new
yeah,
backhoe for
and get rid of
DPW.
the junker that's
Get
at
rid
the
of the
transfer
416.
station. Yeah, so. Back then, it was at 97, we only paid, $58,000. It's in very poor condition, it should be replaced, oh yeah, definitely. So again, I would consider a backhoe kind of should be up on our list. I don't know if it's number 1, but it's like 2 or 3 or something.
yeah, so is that a 2025 warrant article, or is that?
I don't know,
That's where we need the list of
that's
what's
where,
in what
we
condition.
gotta,
and
we'll put a better list
prioritize it.
together, but I think we got some good material to work
Yeah.
with here. You know, where the holes are right now.
Yep.
And again, you know, we're not, backhoes, you know, relatively, we're not talking, you know, $500,000 like a big road grader. We're probably, what do you think, Rick, 150 to 200 for a decent backhoe? Elwin, what do you think of?
It's gonna cost probably most of 250.
250 for?
So something that was,
I mean, you might as well plan on 250, and then if it's less than that,
well,
You're
let's,
getting a-
how about we get a couple quotes?
Yeah.
instead
No,
of
I know,
Obviously.
pulling
but as
all
we
the-
go, I'm just kinda
This.
thinking in my head how much
Right.
a.
So this
a
machine was
is.
purchased new in 2013 at a cost of 62. So in 10 years, the cost has more than
Oh, yeah.
has almost tripled.
Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking, 150 to 200.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the cost of a brand new dump truck right now is $300,000. So
Wow.
That's
equipment
quadrupled.
Yeah,
is
well,
gonna be
it's
that.
60 to
much more.
250?
Oh, I thought he said 200.
I thought you said 250.
Supply chain.
No, I don't know, everything's, okay, then, the Cat 120 grader, the 87 that's up in the lot now,
Right,
that's
That's being
going
traded.
bye-bye,
right.
and, the new 140 is on the way. We're thinking, what, September?
I'd say September, but that's just a guess.
Do we know if they're still taking full value for the trade-in, that 32?
The 32.5.
Nothing's changed.
Okay.
Nothing's changed on the, oh, I know, let's
Fingers
hope
crossed.
that new one shows up here. And this one starts up and they can take it away.
It will.
Please.
Park it on a hill.
Yeah,
Pray to the rain
warm
gods
it
that
up
we
before
don't
the
have rain.
cat shows up, have it.
Yeah, do it on a nice day.
Nice day, yeah. The John Deere tractor, the 3033
3033.
That's
So
that's
the mower's not on here.
No.
though,
But I don't believe this is a complete list yet either.
no, I think this is probably just the big
Heavy
capital
equipment.
equipment stuff.
Yeah.
No, this is good. Dave and Josh, they did a great job. At least we got something to work with here. But, you know, overall, a lot of the equipment is new. You know, we got 2 brand new vehicles this year. You know, there's a couple in there that are pretty questionable. And I'm not sure how we address the international lemon.
I think you address it exactly as that. Somebody has a conversation with International, and maybe not at the dealership level, but at the corporate level, that,
Yeah,
hey, we bought
something
this thing in
like-
2019, brand new, basically.
Well, you also have an argument because you have 2 of them. One's fine, this one's just.
One's 2 years newer, so they solved all the bugs by the time they get to the 21, yeah.
It's like me getting rid of my Subaru.
No, I don't know, maybe there's some kind of recall warranty on them because of all the problems with them, I don't know. Something we'll have to ask. Okay,
Okay,
all right.
anything else? Please thank Josh for getting this put together for us.
I have a feeling Linda helped too.
Yeah, I have it.
No, I
No?
CIP review, am I missing?
I didn't make a copy of one. I said nothing's changed since I did it before,
so-
so I didn't.
So nothing's changed. Well, then that makes the review pretty easy, if nothing's really changed.
No,
that's
no,
about
nothing
it.
has changed. There's been no work on it.
Done the work for us.
I don't even have a CIP, do we?
It's last month.
Okay.
There isn't
yeah.
one in the package,
Yeah.
because there was no
Didn't
change to it.
Okay.
Okay, do we know when there will be a change to it?
Well, probably once we have all this information.
Well, this piece, but that's not the only stuff that's on here. The police department, the fire department. I mean, there's like a building exhaust system and that kind of stuff all on here, so.
Would you own the building administrative stuff, or would the DPW kind of, because there's a building section to it? You're saying? building
That was the
exhaust?
fire department, I think, was the exhaust system.
Yeah, if we're talking the exhaust system, that's in the fire building.
Okay,
Oh
So
my gosh.
department heads would own their pieces of it.
Yeah.
In terms of like building maintenance, like the computer like the phone upgrade and stuff, that's not massive, but it had the potential to be.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah,
on
we
here
don't,
at
yeah,
all.
we haven't typically put that kind of stuff on there, but I know that the ABC has been talking about being more, encompassing more things
yeah.
Yeah,
having to
'cause
do
like-
with the town, so.
Yeah, because even like, projects like this needing to be replaced, that's not gonna be free. Do you know what I mean?
Be-
Like that, sorry, couldn't read my mind. The porch deck.
Oh,
Remember
that,
the porch,
yeah, see, no, and generally, those kinds of things we, like upstairs, we're gonna redo the, tile on the
Yeah.
first floor. That was a project that we started like 2 years ago, then we got the budget cut and that came out of that, so this year, that's planned, part of that project, town
Yeah.
project money is to do that.
If we put stuff like that in the hopefully in
In
the capital
here.
improvement plan, it doesn't get kicked down the road 2 years. That the money would be there for you to
Right.
do it.
Yeah, yeah. I
We'd
mean,
be
it's-
accumulating it, yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, like air conditioning, like I don't know,
Uh,
the air
You
conditioning
really
system.
need to define,
No, that's new.
you really need to define capital projects.
Right.
And it's generally done in terms of two things, cost and time, value. So some of these are maintenance things. If we have to replace a roof, that's a capital.
Right.
But tile up here, that's a maintenance, to me, it's a maintenance thing.
Well, it
Right, and
depends
that's
on
why
how
we were
much.
doing that out
If
of
you're
town
doing,
projects.
if you're replacing the entire floor level up there,
Well, it depends on what you're replacing, are you covering it, are you tearing it all up and building it all new?
well, that's where the cost comes in.
Yeah,
right?
we
Having
gotta
an
know
estimate. Right.
We 2 years ago, we got some estimates and it was like $10,000 or $11,000. I
10,
think.
11,000, see,
That's
to
housekeeping.
me, that's maintenance in the budget.
Right, and that's where it is
Yeah, that's
actually
what
right
it is,
now.
that was just my
It's not a
thought.
CIP project.
So what's your dollar amount for CIP?
Well, I don't know, that's something you have to determine before you build a CIP plan. And then a lot of these smaller things flow into the budget on
Yeah.
a normal cycle, police cruisers, those kinds of things.
And or a warrant article, if it's something that you
warrant
think is
article, right.
too heavy for a
Yeah.
budget.
Well, and the
The things
select,
that, on CIP, are things you have to lay money away for,
Yes.
over time. And we have to get through the town meeting process to make sure, first we have to determine how much we need. Some communities put out, they have a capital plan, they put $100,000 a year in the capital plan.
Mhm.
And it's divided up amongst different
The 22
projects.
different projects or whatever.
Um,
I think that's what the elementary school does.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, it's the easy way to do it because you're not messing around with this project and that project. You know that you have all these things, you know what the bottom line is and how much money you can stand in the budget process that you put 100,000 or whatever, 70,000 a year, and then you use that money to offset those purchases and
Right.
you stagger those purchases over time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think that's what the school
Cap-
does, and it
Ca-
makes sense.
Capital projects are things that you can't just budget for.
Yeah, so I think we would need to determine or, work with
Well-
department heads, whatever, and try to help figure out
See, you figure out,
what that,
what a capital project
cost
is,
is to do it.
define that, and then the cost. If it's
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna
less
be,
than $100,000, it's not a capital project. I mean, that's him just saying that.
I don't know,
I don't- yeah,
I'd say way lower than that.
right.
Right? Because you'll have this plan, it'll be 20 pages with lawnmowers and stuff that really don't cut it in terms
No,
of
I'm fine with
capital.
lawnmowers not being on there,
Okay.
$5,000, whatever, but,
You
no, I
know.
mean, if we're talking,
Probably more than that.
like a 10, even if it was a $20,000 project,
So once
like
you get
that's
the plan-
something that you,
Once you get the plan set and you get that stuff figured out, then you monitor iWorks program and all the things that are in there. You might buy a couple of extra years on something. You don't just willy-nilly push stuff around and take stuff off. This is what we've determined you're gonna do, and then you stick with it, and we don't get into the fix with it now. Problem is now we're in a fix. And getting out of it's gonna be painful.
I tend to err on the side of caution of including it to make sure we have
And we
the
don't
money
forget it.
for it and we don't forget it. Again, we're not talking $5,000 lawnmowers, but a $10,000, $20,000 project that we know is coming down the road. Say hypothetically, like you said, the roof.
Yeah, roof.
That's
That's
Probably
20,000.
50.
That's big.
Hopefully not 50, but you never know.
Oh,
Like
the
if
roofs
it-
are
It's a,
expensive.
roofs are
Well,
expensive, and this is
don't
a
tell me that.
fairly
Oh,
big
roofs are big
building with
bucks,
regard
oh,
to the
yeah.
roof, so,
And old, you might need a little TLC,
right.
but
you know,
yeah, so just, at some point, we'll define, or we'll suggest what would be, what would be within this, what our
What's the
criteria are.
threshold?
Yeah, what's the threshold, what's the criteria for putting it
Right.
on there, so. We can put on our thinking hats and not try to define that right now.
Well, and I think we as a budget committee can help them with that, with discussing it at maybe a next meeting. Define like threshold for the CIP, what should be included and what shouldn't be included, from a time and or a cost perspective, so.
And then, at some point, who owns it? Is that something that the selectmen request the budget committee to compile and then watch?
Technically, this is the planning board.
I would think,
Planning
given-
board,
Yeah.
This, a CIP is really the planning board's, and
Yes,
it
and
wasn't
I-
being kept up with, so the selectmen said, well, we're gonna take it over to kind of do it, and
Yeah,
and if they don't, the selectmen could appoint an ad hoc group.
yeah, I believe there was a select board meeting where Adam is our rep to the planning board, and I believe he was rather emphatic that the planning board was happy to hand it off if there were other groups
It's a
very
lot of-
willing to
it's a-
help
it's
put
an
it
awful-
together.
It's an awful lot of work.
Am I remembering, do
Especially-
you remember that? Yeah, was
Well,
that,
if you're working
that was
with
the
the
sentiment?
department heads, it shouldn't be an awful lot of work, because the department heads should already have at least some level of knowledge about their responsibilities and what might be coming down. It does require them to look 5 to 10 years down the road
I
and
don't
anticipate.
question that. The problem is when you build a plan, you're building it out 15 or 20 years, you need to know what the equipment is that you're actually gonna put in there and put money away for.
Right,
Um,
and that's where the department heads come in. I mean, and DPW seems, we always pick on them, but that's because they have the most amount of equipment right now that needs replacing. I mean, with what Josh just did with regard to this is him looking out 5 to 10 years.
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
And so from this, you know, taking this information and putting it into the CIP will allow you to look down that 5 to 10 years and see 15 or 20 years and see, I'm gonna need a new truck. What's the best replacement for this truck? I have to have some foresight with that. Talk to the dealers, you know, you can't foresee everything. I can't know what new technology is gonna show up in 15 years from now, but I can say,
Correct.
I need an updated grader. And if they're, let's just go by, it was $62,000 in 2019, and now, 4 years later, it's $200,000.
Yeah.
Let's use a standard 8% inflation to go forward with it. If we think that that costs are gonna continue to go up
Oh, I
that
think
much.
they are. Everything's going up, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of
Till
the
they
problems,
don't.
that's one of the problems you run into frequently with capital plans, is you put away, take a vehicle and you put away $20,000 a year, when you get to the replacement, you have a lot of money, but
You
while
have
you're
some.
level funding it, the
Yeah.
cost has
Yeah,
gone up.
it's
You're not-
doubled or
So you're not
tripled,
gonna be
yeah.
able to cover everything.
Well, that's why you review it all the time, and there are adjustments that have to be made to
And
it.
you have to have a plan to do that, correct?
Exactly.
Right, so we know what we want to do, so what is the plan to do it? Is someone gonna have the spreadsheet and then add the information we've gathered from the DPW?
Well, right now, it's under the selectmen's purview, is it
Okay.
not?
Well, Ned Rogerson's, remember? He
Yes.
had put together like a 10-year plan.
Right, well, and that's what this was that we were
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
at, this.
Ned did a really good job on that, trying to,
And he was extending it, trying to get it to 3034.
yeah,
Yeah.
to get the major stuff
To
on there.
get the 10 years
Yeah,
in there,
to get 10 years on there, yeah.
or 2034.
All right, do you guys,
You may wanna,
I think I'm gonna volunteer, because it's a spreadsheet, and I really do love spreadsheets, to take that from Ned. Linda, do
Well,
you
it's
have
in
a
Linda,
copy?
yeah, I was gonna say it's in Linda's.
I
Okay,
have it, yeah.
Yeah.
okay, maybe do you mind sharing that?
Oh, of course.
Just email and I'll kind of add
like
in what we've.
Anything to get you to do that, right?
Huh?
Anything to get you to do that as opposed to her. She has one less thing that she's gotta have to worry about then.
my suggestion was gonna be that
What?
selectmen could
Excel.
appoint an ad hoc committee of people who are
I'll teach you a
interested
pivot
in
table and you'll be,
doing-
We
you'll
can
become an
request
Excel
that.
person.
Separate from
You'll
you.
become a
Well, I
convert.
mean.
We can
you know,
request it, I don't know if they'll,
Well, I'm just, we spent a lot of time on this, and it's just spinning our wheels because it isn't happening.
well, it's
If
not
you had
being
a- If you had an
updated.
ad hoc committee of people who are focused on it, it would happen.
All right, so I
so
am
can you
offering to
take that back to the
spreadsheet.
selectmen?
Mhm.
About requesting sort of, I don't want to call it an ad hoc committee, but I want to call it
It's
a
only a
subcommittee
temporary
that
group.
deals with the no, it wouldn't be necessarily.
Oh, yeah. it
'Cause-
would, Because the
'Cause this is
management
gonna-
of it, once it's done, is in the purview of the
But
selectmen.
it's never
and-
done, that's just it. It's never done, it needs constant updating every single year.
Correct,
So you
but you
would
gotta
be-
have one to do that.
So do we propose,
Huh.
department heads? Do we propose, as part of a subcommittee, a member of the planning board, a member of the select board, a member of the ABC? And do we wanna propose a subcommittee with folks from the interested parties? The stakeholders, how's that, the
Right.
stakeholders?
I think the stakeholders, having an ad hoc committee,
That's what I'm saying, like,
to put this together, they should have the authority or a way to meet with all the people, all the stakeholders,
Mhm.
so that they make sure everything that's out there that they believe is a capital project is put in the plan.
Well, that's why she's asking, who are the stakeholders?
so the stakeholders
Well,
are
stakeholders
department
have a
heads
department
and, right, so each department head is a stakeholder.
They have buildings, they have vehicles,
So, subcommittee, I will take the proposal to the select board, I just wanna know what the proposal is. So the proposal is to have a subcommittee comprised of department heads, comprised of planning board and advisory budget committee. Who would you want to be part of the subcommittee versus the subcommittee going to the department heads? Like, would they be part of it, or would they just be contacted for it?
I think, and we can all disagree, the more hands you have in it, the bigger mess it's gonna be.
Okay,
So here's-
So if you have 2 or 3 people
okay,
who understand all this and are willing to put the time into it, that's what you want. Those people then can meet with the stakeholders.
okay,
Once we have determined what a capital project is, and plug those into the plan, and then the plan is monitored by the advisory budget committee and the select board going forward.
So are those three people a member of the budget committee, a selectman, and a member of the planning board?
I'm not suggesting any individual people, I'm just suggesting how it should be put together, that's all. So something comes out of it.
So I would say yes. I would say that a member of the ABC, a member of the planning board, and a member of the select board. But my question becomes then, are we adding, even though it's an ad hoc committee, as you're indicating, Rick, what are the requirements? Or do we have to have public meetings? Do they have to be noticed and advertised? What are the requirements if we're adding this sort of subcommittee to, and who has purview over it? Does the ABC have purview over it, or do the selectmen? The selectmen currently have responsibility for the CIP, correct? Or is it really still the planning board and the,
Statutorily, it's the planning board.
okay, so then, yeah,
It really is an administrative function. So I'm not sure about right to know and all that, and big public meetings.
Is it considered working sessions? Is it because it's members of different committees that it's just a working group?
It's
Putting
exactly-
together-
It's an administrative group, so it's nothing, everything that ends up in the end, the public is gonna have total access to and be able to comment on. I mean, but.
It's just creating a draft document, spending a lot of time.
Sitting at a table trying to put it together
Yeah. Well, Linda had a
is a
thought.
monstrous
Right.
project.
No, I was just saying that if it's just three department heads like that getting together, there's no need for
It shouldn't be.
But if it
a
was,
meeting as
yeah.
such. But if you deem it the advisory of the advisory board,
No.
then yeah, it's, it's open up yourself up to
It's simply a-
videos and minutes and
Yeah.
Simply a
notifications and
project
stuff
group.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be a work group or
Oh.
working session.
Probably no different than the fire department, the public
Well-
works meeting to talk about roads and issues that they have to
Sure,
deal
right,
with.
yeah.
I mean, that's just it's an
That's what I mean, but if you-
administrative function.
If you
It's
decide
not
to get
designed
a
to
couple of people
hide
together.
anything.
no, nobody's suggesting
It's
that.
it's to be able to get something done.
Well, there is something that's done. I mean, we do have a CIP. It
It's
just
people
needs-
working on a draft document. No decisions being made, just people working on a draft document together. There's no decision, there's no impact. It's just,
Correct.
here's a draft document, you present it to the decision makers.
I understand.
No, I'm just trying to support the fact that it wouldn't necessarily be a committee.
Well, I'm deferring to the authority on what requires committee and
I
meeting
would
minutes
think
and those kinds of
it
things,
would
so.
be-
I mean, I think one thing, but what I think is not necessarily the way it's supposed to be and how we might get ourselves in trouble, the town, not us. So I'm just verifying that we're okay with suggesting that and moving forward with that.
I can't see any problem. I don't think it would be any different than like, when some said that the fire department and the DPW and the police department heads get together.
All right,
We don't have to notice a meeting for any of that kind of thing,
administrative functions, so.
Same
Okay.
idea. And you don't have two, as long as the BOS and the ABC don't need to,
The end result would
Two
have to be
selectmen together.
certified
Well, the end result goes to the
so-
taxpayer and they vote on
by
it. so.
taxpayers and
Then-
the select board.
So John might actually.
But you gotta
be
have something to
interested in this,
present.
I don't know.
All right, so
If he wants it or if he wants to. So basically, John and I both can't be on it. I mean, not on it, but part of the working group,
you guys wouldn't want to be working on something together
correct?
just because it
Yep.
just isn't.
because there's only two of you. There
Well, because
Because
would
it
be
is
two out of
you,
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I will propose to the Board of Selectmen next Tuesday, a working group with a representative from the ABC, from the Planning Board, from the Board of Selectmen, to work together on updating the CIP, which would involve meeting with department heads and getting their input and stuff, but is that the proposal,
Yeah, I think so.
Rick?
Yes.
Do we need to vote on that?
Right. It's up to you.
Well, probably we should. You make a motion, anyone want to make a motion? You can read that out as the motion. To propose to the select board?
Sure, the motion would be to propose a working group to the select board comprised of 2 or 3 people, a representative from the ABC, a representative from the planning board, a representative from the Board of Selectmen, to update the CIP spreadsheet, and then present it to Board of Selectmen and ABC and planning board groups for everyone to review, meeting with stakeholders.
Anyone want a second? Joe Dame seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. All right, anything else with the CIP before we move on? What did I do with my, there it is.
Well, it took us a half an hour for something that never changed. That's pretty good.
Well, review of the expendable trust funds.
I wasn't sure what information you wanted, so I just kind of pulled something together to talk about.
Ooh,
I think what's killing us on the ETFs, and I mean, there's some history here, is, it was warrant article 11, heavy equipment, a highway heavy equipment ETF.
right.
You know, we're only putting $10,000 into that. I mean, that buys 2 tires, you know, and an oil change. And, you know, we're looking at the list that Josh Ackford and Dave Swift put together. You know, for next year, we need to bump that up. I don't know what the number is, do we do, you know, 50,000, 100,000, but, you know, you're looking at the cost of that equipment.
Until you get the plan down, you really don't know.
I know, but we're gonna have some big expenses over the next.
It'll be substantial.
It's gonna be substantial, that's what I'm saying, you know, that's just for, you know, the build out next year is, you know, the 10,000 isn't even close to what our anticipated
Correct.
costs are gonna be over the next
Correct.
2, 3, 4, 5 years.
Are we missing one? Wasn't the veterans, did that get established?
It wasn't, no, we didn't establish a new one, we just added funds to the miscellaneous one.
Yeah, the money
It's
was
line
moved
24
around, it
above.
wasn't a new addition, it was,
Create
Adding to
Veterans
the
Monument
current one.
ETF.
yeah.
Correct, but it didn't pass that way. It got rewarded, we didn't wanna create an ETF for it, we just put some money, we put money into,
The existing.
The existing budget line or something, yeah.
Not in the, no.
No, I remember it was just add to one of the existing funds or something.
Actually, I can probably, the minutes from the most
they
recent
were on the
meeting.
front page of the
The website,
website, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it went into the Veterans Monument Fund.
That was, which article was that?
24.
24.
We went to 10 to 28 and then back down.
Oh, yeah, because we moved those.
Because it says it was approved.
Approved by the supervisors of the checklist, because it was a petition.
Because it was petition, right.
All right, so we amended the article to add the money to the existing account.
It wasn't an expendable trust fund, though. That's, that's the list you're looking at, it's on a different list.
Okay, so then where does it go?
Into the already established Veterans Monument Fund
Is that with the trustees?
with the trustees. I don't think, I didn't give you that because it wasn't a trust fund,
Yeah, that's,
but it's in the book. It's
Yeah.
on page 131 of the town report. I wasn't sure what you wanted with that, so I just pulled something together quick.
Well, I guess what we're in theory looking for is an entire picture of what the financial status of the town is with regard to monies coming in and monies going out. And so,
Well, the
If-
report from the trustees of trust fund lists everything that was the end, you know, the ending
Right.
balance.
But that's only once a year that we get there, and we don't really necessarily get any chance to ask questions about it, or.
Oh, you can, anytime, I'd be happy to answer for you. But there really isn't any, once a year, we put money into it. We vote at town meeting in March to say, okay, you're gonna add 10,000, 15,000, 10,000. That's what town meeting votes on. And then that is in July, after we've collected the first amount of taxes. We write a check to the trustees of the trust funds and ask them to put X number dollar in this account, X number dollar in that account, create this account and all that, and Kathy Moore takes care of all that for us. Then any withdrawals that come out of it are done at a selectmen's meeting with a vote of the selectmen, because they're 9 times out of 10 the agents to expend on any of those funds. So there isn't a lot of motion that goes on with those funds.
It's really just accountability,
Yeah, and that's,
right?
So take the highway E,
Mm-hmm.
EFT.
the EFTs or ETFs?
TF, trust fund, expendable trust fund.
I think in the town report they're all
EFTs.
No, but a few of them are EFT, yeah, 4 of them are EFT instead of ETF, but, okay,
On
ETF.
my stuff?
Just wanna make sure I have
Yeah,
it
the
right.
book. In here.
Oh, that's not mine.
Blame the typo on somebody else.
There you go.
She's like, that's not me.
Oh, I see,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, so ETF, alright.
No,
So highway,
that's
what?
still not mine, but anyway.
No, nice and depth. So the highway heavy equipment,
Yeah.
there was a balance of 19,000, 10,000 was added per warrant article.
Mhm.
17,000 was
Spent.
Used.
spent.
And-
So that is, like, how is that 17,000? So that's not in a budget line, that's not like in the drawdown.
Correct.
So that's, like, where do those receipts, like, how does it determine what comes out of that versus what is paid out of the budget?
Well, whoever would like to spend money out of that makes a request of the selectmen,
Okay,
and with the invoices, and if the selectmen agree that that money should be spent out of there, then they make the motion, sign it, and then we get the money from
the trustees.
the trustees. Remember that big white book that I pulled out and I was showing you?
Yes.
That's where all that information is held. So
Okay.
on our side, you can see where the money was taken out and what invoices it paid for and that kind of thing.
Okay,
That's where, but it's not in any spreadsheet.
right, and that's not, it is in QuickBooks somewhere, isn't it?
Not in, we don't keep, no, the trustees keep track.
Because that's not money that's in the budget is in
It's only in
QuickBooks.
the big white book.
Yeah.
It's only in the big white book.
Well,
And the
I mean,
trustees of the trust
you
funds.
can
They have whatever they
see in the detailed drawdown of the budget, you could see that we spent, we spent $50 and $100 on tires, and then there'll be a deposit back into the budget for $150 from the trustees.
From the trust fund.
That,
So that could be like 100 different invoices, or that could be one big one.
Sure, right.
Okay. We need municipal software to have like all of this at
But
fingertips,
even-
yeah.
I don't know that, because that's something really the trustees keep track of.
Right,
That's, their funds.
yeah, Yeah.
All I do is fund them and ask for money,
yeah,
or what the selectmen do rather.
yeah. So that's off books, in a book, like off QuickBooks,
Right.
In a
It's not
binder.
It's not an electronic format
books, yeah.
here.
And is this all in like one account at TD Bank, or and like
That we talked about, and I'm not 100% sure.
So do you get on a monthly basis any reconciliation from the trustees with regard to?
Nope. They do it at the end of the year. She does it every month. Kathy Moore does it. She comes
Yeah.
and keeps, but we don't get a running tab of it all. It comes out at the end of the year with the trustees report. Because we know there really, like I said, there really isn't much action on these.
Unless the selectmen say so.
Exactly. Other than that, there's no action on them. The only action generally that happens is they get a deposit in July,
Yeah.
and then if we ask for money, that's the only other time that there's any action on them. So they change by pennies each month, really is what happens,
Right.
if there's any interest.
Okay. So, going back then, looking at the ones that you've highlighted.
Those are the ones that were funded this year.
Okay.
And the bottom square down there are all the expendable trust funds or capital reserve funds that we have.